New South in your mouth, boys. You can't
Yeah.
spell.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
You can't spell Queensland without L.
You can't.
What are we thinking, boys? Do
Dub
Queensland?
City.
Do Queensland get Origin?
Not at all. Not even close.
Definitely not, bro.
Not even close.
I can't believe it. In big news, boys, Payne Haas first come out and said he doesn't want to be there. He didn't say he doesn't
I don't
want to
think
be
he
there,
said,
but
yeah.
he said he's open to the market. But now his manager has actually come out today and said we're gonna explore our extension options with Brisbane. What are we thinking? Where's he going? Is he staying? Is he coming? Is he going?
He could be doing anything. Look, who knows? We'll have to just wait and see what happens. I can see him wanting to come to Sydney, but
yeah?
Bro, I think Roosters or Dragons probably have enough money spared over to sign him up. I can definitely see him leaving. But, look, I think what turned him off was the fact that Broncos are struggling this year and they were red hot favourites to win the comp. So that's probably turned him off a bit. And seeing how well the Sydney clubs are doing, he's a New South Welshman as well. Why not come back home?
Look, he is only 24 years old, but he's been at that club for how long now? He's been there for about 5-6 years.
it's been a while.
I think he thought going to Brisbane was going to end up winning him a comp, and obviously I'm going to get more into him a bit later, but they don't look like they're on the right trajectory at the moment, and he can go to a team possibly like Roosters who can give him the same amount of money but more promise in the premiership. And look, the Dragons are a bit far off, but the Dragons do definitely have the money to send it.
Yeah, easy.
Is he going to the Dogs? Has Gus said no?
Oh, mate. Like I said and I said before,
No one
if Gus
disrespect
says
him.
no, it means no.
Don't disrespect him. That's right. Gus is a man of his word.
Boys, no means no unless your name's Gus.
Look, I can see him maybe having an interest in coming to the Bulldogs. Avid Muslim man. Plenty of mosques around the area. Did I ever tell you I met him on my honeymoon?
No one cares. But anyway,
Fair
Anyways, continuing.
I did, but.
Nah, he sounds like a really good bloke that does want to come back home. So I reckon we bring him back home, bro. Get him away from those inbreds up in Queensland.
Yes.
Get him out of those maroon colours.
Home is not the Dragons, but.
I think Broncos are going to throw the kitchen and sink at him, man. They don't want to get rid of him.
Yeah, no way, bro. Imagine they lose someone like that. They lose a lot of the integrity of the team.
Yeah. And he is the only player in the comp, or the only forward, really, that I'd be spending 1 million plus on.
Literally.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking about integrity of the team, bro. One it. ACL. Out for the season.
Didn't have to do that to him.
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Mitchell Barnett, bro. I'm so upset about it because as much as I like the Wires, this is obviously going to throw in a spanner in the works at Origin.
Yeah.
And does this now derail Warriors season? Do you reckon they're going to slide off a bit? Do you reckon that his impact is going to derail their season to a point where they like finish just struggling to make the 8? Or
Look, it'll hurt. With any team, if you take out their like best or arguably second best prop, it's going to hurt, but the Warriors have got plenty of size there.
Yeah.
They just don't really, not everyone has the skills of Mitch Barnett.
Warriors definitely have plenty of coverage as well. They're not short for forwards. They've got plenty of backup forwards, and they've got a lot of edge forwards that can transition into the middle as well, which can help them out. But not only that, I think Warriors weren't on my top 8 to begin with at the start of the year.
they were my bottom 3.
I don't know how much further you can derail from that.
We can only see what
They're a
happens
system
from here.
team. They are a system team. You can see it in the way that they play, but still, Mitch Barnett's just a different sort of forward than most forwards.
It's going to be a big loss for game 2 as well. Like,
yeah.
I want to know what you think would happen. Like, I want you to tell me what you would do and then what you think Laurie Daly will do in terms of coverage for Mitch Barnett for this next 2 games.
Well, what Laurie Daly's going to do seems pretty obvious. Stefano's been in camp. I think Laurie Daly moves Max King into a starter and puts Stefano onto the bench. If it's up to me, I'd be putting Trel May straight into a starting spot, leaving Max King on the bench for that impact that he brought on.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, me personally, I think Kean's been playing very well at the front row, transitioning from the edge forward. So I think he's got plenty of coverage in that position. I still stand by my word. I don't think Terrell May is ready for Origin, and especially after what he's been what he said when he was streaming.
Yeah, he has shown some immaturity.
I don't think Blues are going to go back on their word.
No.
I do think it will be someone else. But logically, I can't see a new player coming into that team and starting or being on a bench spot. Stefano's already been in the camp and he understands what's going on around him. He's seen the plays. He knows what's going to happen. So I think they can either see Max King start or even Stefano start. He could push for a starting spot. But regardless, I think Stefano and Max are going to be the replacements to Mitch Barnett. and they're going to bring in maybe Keon or someone else that we don't. Honestly, knowing Laurie Daly, if Jake Travojevic is fit, I can see him going into that team.
Yeah,
as much as it burns me,
Yeah.
I know what they're going to do, and I can see him moving into that team.
Talk about who was around the camp, and I'd prefer to see him there. Hamish Stewart, bro. Put him in the Blues jersey.
You mean Cody Ramsey?
I love Cody Ramsey.
You mean Adam Dewey?
We don't talk about Adam Dewey here.
This guy had
No,
some
but-
controversy.
No, but honestly, I would like to see someone like Keon come in and start with Payne Haas, and I'd like to keep Max King, like you said, off the bench because that impact he brought in when we thought we were going to lose intensity when Payne Haas came off. He came on and he actually did chase the plays and make those tackles
did.
that Laurie
He
Daly
did.
was talking
He
about.
didn't even gas out either.
He was gas, bro. Get him off the field.
No, he was pretty gassed, but bro, he played well, man.
Yeah,
he
he
did
was-
a really good job.
I think in terms of our bench players, he was probably the best bench player.
So you wouldn't pick Terrell May?
Well, now after these past recent weeks and seeing how he's taken to action about those things, I think he's still like, I don't know, a year off
Okay.
maturing to the Origin level.
Big Terrell May lover, this guy.
I love Terrell,
Big
mate.
Terrell May
But the
lover.
way that Keon has moved and transitioned into prop, how can you say no?
No, you can't.
Or even if you want, you can even throw him onto the bench at Origin and he can cover every single forward position for you. It's not having, there's no loss having Keon there.
Agree.
Speaking of Origin, what were your thoughts on the game? Because, like I said last week, our forwards were going toe-to-toe, and it was just
Yeah.
our backs that bashed them open, bro. They had, every time the ball reached our edges, they had no answer to it.
Yeah, I called it last week. I said from 1 to 5, I think we got him covered with ease. I wouldn't pick you could push Kalen Ponga, but I couldn't pick a single player from their backline that would make it over our backline. But like I said, if our forwards can do the job, we'll run over this game.
How about Critter with a corked eye?
Oh, that was all
Oh,
bullshit.
bro, that's all bullshit.
That's all my
Wait,
games, bro.
who said he had a cork thigh? Gus or Critter?
It wasn't Gus.
Hey,
That's-
It wasn't
if Gus says he has a cork thigh, it means he has a cork thigh.
Nah, bro, he done well, bro. He had, who was he facing up against? It was
Hammer.
Hammer, yeah. He had
Hammer.
him on skates.
Yeah.
Hammer didn't know, he didn't have a hammer. He had like a Sharpie or something, bro.
Critter was so good for Lomax's first try. He was so good for that. Brought in 4 defenders around him and found the
Bro,
perfect
you
pass.
know what I love? It's that thing that he does that you don't really notice unless you pay attention. It's he catches the ball, he stops for a quick solid second,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he takes it on the outside. He plants
Yeah.
the defender's feet flat. So then they don't know if he's going to cut back in and out. But 9 times out of 10, he goes out, and he's got the pace. And we've seen him last time when he was running around like one of those Hindu gods with his hands everywhere.
No, he jinxed the player, gets him on the back foot, and it's just that split second that he's able to evade them.
And then, bro, was it Holmes on his wing or was it Coates? Whoever it was, they were both rubbish in defence because every time he got on the outside of the centre, they would jam in and it'd just leave Zach Lomax with like 10 metres of space to
It
just
was
fall
Holmes,
over the
yeah.
line. Like, we had them covered everywhere, all over the edges. We had them covered. They had no answer for us.
Critter held that ball up perfectly for that first try, bro.
Yeah, I think their best player, surprisingly, in the backline was actually Rob Toyer. I think he was to a certain extent controlling Latrell Mitchell. He actually,
Yeah.
To an extent, but in saying that, as a big Latrell fan over here, I don't think Latrell actually stood out as much as he should have. Like we obviously know him as a big moment player, and he did do that one brilliant pass at the start of the game where he drawing the man and straight out to Brian Toto. But other than that, can you guys tell me what else he did that was fantastic on that field?
who,
Not
Rob
really.
Toyer or
Latrell
Latrell?
Mitchell.
He made
Bro,
a couple
he-
of nice tackles.
Yeah, like he's just a presence. He's like one of those players that just brings presence to the game, and like knowing that Latrell's there, you're gonna have to number up on him because you can't go 1-on-1. Rob Toyer did do his job when it came to 1-on-1, but like you said, bro, those quick hands like that, the X factor that Latrell brings to you, like if you rush up on him, he can still throw that cutout pass.
Barely, no defensive system stops that try.
Yeah.
Bro, tell me what other
None.
centre can throw that pass. It was a catch and pass in the same movement. It
Yeah.
was like his hands moved with
Incredible.
the ball. It was absolutely unreal.
But in saying that, he did do his job well, Latrell. But I still think that we didn't even utilise him as
No, we
much as we
didn't.
should.
No
We,
way.
we were preferring the right hand side.
Look, with the red hot form that Critter's in,
Yeah.
I don't blame him. But in saying, like, we still have one of the best centres. We have probably arguably the two best centres on our team on both
Yeah,
sides.
compare our starting centres to theirs. It's a
Forget it's a
million-mile
mismatch,
gap.
bro.
Million-mile gap.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Would you consider putting Hammer on the wing and Holmes back to centre?
Definitely.
I think that
I
might be
wouldn't
the
even
better
put Hammer
option.
on the wing, bro. I said game 1, I would have preferred to have Xavier Savage on the wing. I think he's been playing out of his skin this year, bro, and I feel
Over
like
the
he deserves.
Hammer.
Nah, he's
Yes,
not-
for
he's
sure,
not
bro.
really
Over
What
the
does
Hammer.
what did Hammer do that game?
What did any of the Queensland team do that
Bro,
game, to be fair?
But at least they provided something. Hammer just didn't even look like he was on the field. He had no defensive read. There was a point where we were watching it together, and he shot out of the line for no reason.
They
And he
both
just
took the same player.
yeah, like
That was when Edwards had all that space.
yeah, like
And then
it was just stupid defensive reading. Like
But that was more so the winger's fault than the centre's fault. And it could have just been a miscommunication as well, but you could see the winger jamming in and taking the same man as him. So I blame that more on the winger than I would on the centre.
But like who was defending? There was someone that was defending next to him. I don't know if it was Cherry Evans or if it was Munster, but they had that player covered. That I think it was like a they did like a block play, and
it might have been Munster out there.
yeah,
it would have been Munster.
and they had
on
that block
side.
play covered, but Hammer jammed into the block play, and it just became a 3-on-1 very easily.
Yeah. Then again, look, Hammer came through as a fullback. It's hard to transition at such a big level into a position you never played before. So
And this is maybe the first game that I can say Hammer's probably had his worst origin in this last game, which most of the Queensland team did as well.
Look, I don't think he's ever had a good origin. I think he just scores those tries where because he's got the pace, he just burns us on the edges.
good support.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's all you need by an origin.
but he's not like an origin player. Whereas if like these other players there, like I think Val Holmes is an origin player. That bloke shows up every origin. He's playing out of position, bro. He's playing in on the wing. He's already a liability in the centres, and having him next to another player that's not really the best defensively.
Yeah.
But
know what I mean?
the way Blues dominated, it's hard to consider any of the Queensland players and what they did in that game because it was just such a domination. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If Blues keep dominating, I don't find Origin that entertaining. And I agree with Brendan Smith. It probably was, in a while, one of the most boring Origins I've watched.
You say that it's boring,
Yeah.
but because if it was the other way around, we would have been like on the edge of our seats. Can we get them back? Can we get them back, bro? We
Yeah.
suffered for so long.
It's perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
100%. But I think Queensland had their 7-8 year dynasty where they were untouchable. And I think we're going through that phase now.
Yeah, maybe.
Look, I can see it as a clean sweep, and I can't see Queensland turn around anytime soon. You look at the players they got, it's not like they're missing anyone. Like who are they? Probably Reece Walsh, a couple of forwards, but they're not going to make that much of a change to that current team.
They made the choice to leave out Corey Horsburgh for Trent Liera and Bo Fermor, who really didn't do much.
Bro,
either.
you know who absolutely made, like, someone that actually, under the radar, had one of their worst games? Harry Grant.
He's getting heavily criticised, bro. I
Bro,
don't know if that's under the radar.
No, because, like, he's getting heavily criticised by, like, Queensland fans. No one in the media has come out and said, that was a shocker by Harry Grant.
Gus has.
Gus is a blow-ass.
Gus has.
Gus is probably...
Did you hear what he said?
What?
Gus said Queensland should consider bringing in Reid Marnie, having him play the first 20 minutes, do all the dirty shit,
Here we go.
and then bring Grant off the bench. Did you hear
Bulldog
what Cam Smith said
supporter.
on 100%
Here
footy?
we go.
Cam Smith said that in 4 Origin games that Harry Grant has started, they've lost them all.
Look, as a New South Wales fan, please bring in Reid Marnie because he's going to do something stupid where he probably slaps like Payne Haas in the face and then he gets sent off.
Gus always knows best.
Look, I know
Gus always knows best.
I know
mate.
Max Plath is named on the extended bench this week for Dolphins. Hopefully he's got his match fitness up.
Isn't
to
Ben Hunt
scrubs.
coming back as well?
Ben Hunt's
Hunt
coming back, but
is-
he's still, I think he maybe game 3, if not after that.
Yeah, he's not
still a
in
bit
the
far off,
extended
but
team this
I
week.
can see him starting with Max Plath if he's fit and pushing Harry Grant to 14 because we've seen Harry Grant as an impact 14.
I
He's
think Harry
unreal.
Grant needs to go to the bench.
Yeah.
I think he
Bro,
needs to.
I honestly, this may be a hot take, but I actually haven't seen Harry Grant have a good game at Origin level. I can't remember a game where we've come on and we're like, oh, Harry Grant tore us apart.
I remember he scored a big try a year or 2 years ago.
No, he has had a couple
I remember
of
he
games.
scored a
I don't know which
massive
game it
try
was,
against us.
but he has had a couple of
He
good
has had a
games.
couple of very nice games.
It's not like
I remember him kicking a 40-20.
You know, it's not like a, for example, I want to speak about this bloke. It's not like a Cherry Evans where he has average club games and then he comes into Origin and he bosses us around like he's untouchable. But that last game, he looked a lot off the pace, bro. Like, do Queensland cut their losses and start to look forward to the future and put Dearden at 7?
It's definitely an
Or,
option.
or do
yeah.
they like plug the hole for this year and throw in Fogarty?
No, I can't see Fogarty getting picked over Dearden. Dearden's been around that camp. He knows what's going on. Maybe Fogarty could push for a top 20 spot in that squad, but I can't see Fogarty getting pushed in. And not only that, DC is pretty hot and cold when it comes to club level. Like he does have these standout games,
Yeah.
but the whole media the last couple of weeks leading up to Origin was DCE's 37 years old. Can he keep up? He had a lot of pressure on him in that game. Maybe the pressure got to him, which normally doesn't. But I think being the oldest player to ever play Origin, like surely all the headlines when they're about you, they're gonna get into your head eventually.
Yeah, look, arguably they had the bigger game halves than us. Their halves will do those like obviously we have Cleary,
They've got the proven history, those two halves,
Yeah.
compared to our two halves.
Look,
Yeah, they've
Cleary-
got more proven history.
Cleary has probably been the best club level half that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years, probably even in our lifetime. But when it comes to Origin, bro, you don't see players like Cherry Evans or Munster, like they just boss us around. I've never seen Cleary go and boss Queensland around the way that they boss us around.
But in saying that, I do think the Blues have a lot of big personalities in their team. Like, they've got a lot of club captains for their team. You got Latrell and Stephen are both club captains for their team. Like, I think whereas Queensland, their halves have to rise to the occasion on behalf of their team. They have to do it for their team. Whereas Blues got that much strike power and that many big personalities in that team that
A lot of leaders.
they can go left and right, and everyone they will want to step up and control it themselves. Where you can see something in that Queensland team, they're relying heavily on Munster and DC, and if they don't perform, then forget about it. But in the Blues team, if our halves don't perform, everyone else knows they're going to step up to the challenge and perform as well.
Look, I agree with that. Like Queensland are more of a like structured system-based team, whereas if we're more of an X-factor team where anyone on the field from 1 through to 17 can break open the game at
We've got
any
so
point.
much more X factor.
Bro, you know
so much more.
Robson, I know he had his critics saying, oh, Appy should have been there, Appy's been born. But he proved to the critics that he deserves that Origin spot. The amount of times where we'd get like a split-second quick play the ball and he just breaks open the ruck, which then it doesn't obviously lead to a try, but it leads to a try sequence, if that makes sense.
Laurie Daly must have given him a lot of confidence in this camp.
Bro, he's actually brought his game to another level this year, Reece Robson. And
Definitely.
the Roosters are going to benefit a lot from him next year, bro.
He's-
It's
yeah,
scary.
He has been playing really well. But back adding on to our point, like last game we saw Harry Grant and DCE plummet big time, and you could see the Queensland team was struggling big time. Like they didn't know what was going on. But our halves, like Cleary took the ball on a lot for
He
a
ran
halfback.
so much.
I think he had 21 or 22
Crazy
runs or
amount of
something.
runs.
Him and
Yeah.
Moses both wanted to just run. It was good to see. The only thing I can fault our team for was their goal kicking, bro. What the fuck was going on? Was there Vaseline on their feet?
Andrew
forgot how
Johns
to
blamed the
kick, man.
balls. Andrew
Yeah, and then did you see? He looked at him and he's like, we measured them and I was wrong. Well, he didn't say he was wrong, but he's like, I
Steeden
measured
told
them.
him he's wrong. Steeden told him he's
Yeah.
wrong.
What's that girl's name? Danica, whatever her name is? Danica?
Mason.
Yeah, she looked at him and she's like, are you going to admit that you're wrong? He's like, oh, we just measured the balls. And they're the same. He's an idiot, but I don't know what it was. Was it the turf?
Bro, it's hard to know, but we have never seen Cleary
Bro,
kick like
Lomax
that.
from 10 metres.
Even Lomax, yeah.
10 metres, we're like, all right, Lomax is kicking, he's not going to miss. And he
Yeah.
shonked it.
And these guys ace it 10 times out of 10.
But they have like over 90% goal kicking
And then
rate at
Cleary
club.
went to Penrith and nailed all of his sideline ones this weekend.
Yeah, I think it was just like I'm proving to you that it was
Yeah.
Suncorp. They've funked us around over there.
Just one of those moments where it happens to every player. They do it 9 times out of 10, and that one time it happens on the biggest stage,
Yeah.
and look what happens to him.
Just coming back to DCE for a second, if he gets dropped from Origin, who takes the captaincy?
Tino.
I think Carrigan gets it over
No,
Tino.
Tino for sure. Tino.
I think Carrigan.
Tino is 10 times the player Carrigan is, bro. If you paint your nails, you don't deserve to play Origin.
That's a fair point. Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about it that way.
Look, I think Tino has turned into a massive personality. It's not only for club level, but he's transitioning it into the big
Bro,
stage.
you could see like he was like probably
He was
their
off the
main
other night as
forward.
well, but
At Origin.
he was off.
Bro,
the
he
other
was their
night.
best. He was their best forward.
He was not. Carrigan was a mile better than him in
Oh,
Origin.
come on, bro. Come on. You
Carrigan
were
was
watching
a
a
mile
different game
better
to
than
me.
him.
Oh, I'm not getting involved in this one.
What do you reckon?
I think Tino, bro.
Okay, fair enough.
Tino's been playing mad.
I thought Carrigan. No, I'm just talking about in this one Origin game.
Yeah, but I do think
Do you want
Carrigan's
to
standing
do you want
out.
to paint your nails with Carrigan? Is that what you want?
My
Show
nails at
everyone,
any
show
point.
everyone. Show everyone.
I don't want to paint my nails at any point in my life.
Bro, I
no.
think Tino was the best player on the field for them, and he was the only one that was willing to actually stand toe to toe with our forwards.
Definitely.
Like Carrigan did have a good game. Like I'm not gonna sit there and say Carrigan played shit, but Tino's Tino, bro. I think he takes captaincy over anyone in that team.
maybe.
But on the topic of Origin, I'd just a curious question, because I was talking about bossing us around the park and stuff. Who do you think in our lifetime has been the most dominant player to play at Origin level, where you knew he was playing Origin and he was just going to dominate the arena to the point where, fuck, we have to play this bloke again?
That's a good question. Look, I know. I know it's from our lifetime, but if you're gonna say in general, it has to be Wally Lewis.
Yeah,
Of course, say Wally the
king.
wanker.
The king. Yeah, he got the nickname the king from that stage. But personally, I think if you take any single spine player out of that 2000s Queensland
The
team,
big four.
man, Cameron Smith, Billy Slater, Jonathan Thurston, Darren Lockyer could even push for it. Like
For sure.
So you got to pick one. Who's it going to be? Who like when we were going to play Origin? Who did you like fear the most? Like who did you think was going to fuck us over the most?
JT.
He was just that Origin player.
Yeah.
Eh? What about you, Sam?
I felt like Cam Smith just controlled Origin games like almost no one ever has. It's a cop-out answer, but Cam Smith was just one of the best, maybe the best player who's ever lived.
Do you know who I'm gonna say? It's a bit more rogue, but
I think I know. Nathan Merritt.
Steve Turner?
Sifa Talakai. Pangai Jr. actually,
Oh,
nah.
no.
Honestly, we've had
That's
some
a dark
shockers.
time. It's a dark time. in our lives. How did we all just rattle them off?
Bro played one good game and he got picked straight away.
Oh, bro. But no, dead set. You know who I was always worried to see in the Origin jersey? Greg Inglis, the fucking goanna. Every time he jumped onto the
Yeah.
field,
Yeah, you know what? I actually take my answer
I
back.
forgot about that.
bro,
take
he
my
was
answer
just like
back.
a fucking bobcat. You could have had 73,000 people, a whole Lebanese village on him, and he was still breaking through that line.
Or
bro.
one Josh Morris.
In adding to that, no.
With a broken shoulder.
Yes, my boy.
Jared Hayne.
Jared Hayne had those couple of years, yeah.
I wouldn't say he dominated, but
But he didn't dominate
Oh,
on the levels
not
Greg
to the
Inglis.
scale that GI did, but if you're talking about impact and what he could do,
yeah, it's a different question. Yeah,
So
Yeah,
you know what the sad
definitely
thing
up
is? We've all named the Queensland player. We haven't been able to name like
yeah, we haven't seen it. Like I wanted to say Andrew Johns. I didn't watch enough Andrew Johns in my
look,
life.
there was Andrew Johns. People say Brad Fittler in his time.
Yeah.
Good player, shit coach.
Didn't watch it.
Same thing as Andrew Johns.
yeah, but that's that Queensland dynasty. Like you're not going to take away any.
That's
player
what we
from
all
that
grew
team,
up
man.
in. That's what we all watched growing
But that's
up.
why like the only player that I can sort of connect to that sort of level is Latrell for us, bro. Like,
Trent
I've-
Hodkinson.
shut up, idiot.
Josh Reynolds.
Adam Dewey. No, but like they must see Latrell and think what we thought about Greg.
Yeah,
Inglis.
I agree.
Like
I
they've
agree.
just got no answer for him at the moment.
Definitely.
I just used to hate seeing him run onto the field unless we had a broken Josh
Terrible
Morris.
person. Greg Inglis is a terrible human
Bro,
being.
when you reach that goal, Anna, forget about it. Man.
Boys, I'm in a good mood. Can you tell me why? Do you want to guess why I'm in a good mood?
The Dragons won a game.
Won back-to-back games, buddy.
Let's go.
We're sitting 8th, bro. We're sitting 8th.
That's the most
And
undeserved
that's with
position.
fucking Kyle Flanagan. What do you mean undeserved? Shut your mouth. We have Kyle Flanagan sitting at 7 and we're sitting 8th. You know, if we had any other 7 in the competition, we'd be in the top 4 and it's not even debatable. Debate it for me. Debate that we wouldn't be top 4 if Kyle Flanagan wasn't our halfback.
You'll all learn this over time. When it comes to the Dragons, there's no debating with this guy. It's his opinion, and that's the end of the story.
Now, he's an idiot because I'm the Dragons' biggest critic. You know through my videos, I'm actually the biggest critic. And I'm telling you now, if we didn't have Kyle Flanagan, say for example, we had Metcalf in our fucking team right now, we'd be second.
You're pushing it, buddy.
We'd be second.
You're pushing it.
We're on 14 points right now, cuz second's on 20. That's the 3 losses that we had by 1 point. You give us those 3 losses.
Jamie Humphries, buddy.
Fuck off, mate.
Hold on. Do you think Toby Sexton moves you up the ladder?
1 position. Because he kicks a field goal for 1 game.
Yeah, he does.
He's a bit of an idiot.
He does.
Are you telling me Sexton wouldn't improve us by 1 game at
I
least?
think most halfbacks in the world would improve you guys.
I reckon
by
you
one
can put Mo
position.
Salah at halfback and we'd be at the top 4. Bro, honestly, that game shows to me how far we are off the pace in our halves.
That was the worst
We
game of
had
NRL in a long
so
time.
much opportunity on their try line. And Kyle Flanagan, the fucking AI robot piece of shit, kept doing the same play until he had a brain snap. I call it a brain snap. But he's going to tell you it was a moment of genius. It's a brain snap because he went off script and he did a double pump, gave it to Sua. It was a pretty good try to watch. And then he continued to go to the fucking same X block.
That game dragged, man. Honestly,
You were at the game as well.
Yeah,
Like, you
that-
felt like the atmosphere was sucked out of it, bro.
that second half dragged, bro.
We couldn't score a try.
You could,
Wait.
but someone's been biting the players.
Jaden Sua's been going around biting
Oh
our
my
players because
God, how do
Sloan,
you keep on blowing
Val
him?
Holmes, both dropped it over the line. Val Holmes got up and he was like, he was shocked that he had dropped it. Same as Sloan. Sloan got up and he was like, fuck.
Look,
Yeah, they both knew it.
Gone are the days where you could actually sell it and it would get sold, but it's not nothing gets missed anymore. And
Oh, honestly, with the bunker these days, bro, we saw a couple of weeks ago with the Warriors dropped the ball 20 meters forward. We get the play on call. Why the fuck can't we get a play on call like that, bro?
Doesn't work.
Look, bro, Sharp at fullback. Obviously, the Knights had one of their worst games, but he was like a shining light for him. And we saw Ponga at Origin. I thought it was just a Knights thing, but Ponga at Origin looked off the pace as well. Does Ponga need a year off to like fall in love with the game again?
Is that your solution to everything? Take a year off?
Bro, he
Look, I think Knights got pretty lucky with the depleted Panthers squad. They're missing a lot of their players, and it did give them a bit of confidence. But I look from 1 to 13, and I can't see where they can win their games. Look, there is one man to resolve it, and it's Kalen Ponga. But if he's not playing, I don't know how Knights are going to win another game. I actually can't see him win another game.
bro, did you see the halves they put out?
Jack Cogger and
Tyson gamble your money on whoever's playing the Knights because he's so fucking shit. They could not do anything, bro. It was just literally get to the end of your set and just kick it down.
Bro, what's Adam O'Brien's vendetta against Jackson Hastings?
I'm telling you, Jackson Hastings probably copped nudes off his wife or something because that bloke
has to be
hates
something,
him.
bro. Like
He hates
nothing's
him.
happening for that team. Try him in. Change it up. See if it's gonna work.
Bro, did you see their try came off a Tyson Frizzell pass? Not even a half. They're a club, honestly, I stand by my word, that needs to get fucked off out of the NRL. We would do better without the Knights in the comp.
I think the other one team that I would kick out, to be honest.
You guys were at that game, so that was a struggle. I couldn't stay awake at home.
No,
I could not stay
I
awake.
don't blame you. And I was honestly, as a South fan, counting down the minutes. I'm like saying, all right, let's go. I'm hungry. I want to go eat. Let's get out of here.
Look, for me, like one of my main talking points, because at the end of the game, I saw like a little thing where it was like Lawson, it was obviously his debut for the Dragons, and his mum didn't get to see because apparently she passed away before he signed for the Dragons, and he said he dedicated that game to his mum. And bro, I don't know if you were paying close attention, but he actually was one of our better players. Considering he was playing next to fucking Holmes, who got rinsed by a fucking 93-year-old Gagai, Lawson was actually holding his own. And then there was that one half break, or it was a full break actually, where he made 2 line breaks in one fucking movement.
Look, he did have a good one. He did his job. Well, I wouldn't say he's one of your better players, but he definitely did his job.
Nah, he wasn't one of our better players, but he was like one of those talking points where I was like, okay, at least thank God that happened.
As a debutant, he did really well.
And like this week he got named on the right side, and he is a right-sided player,
Yeah.
so
Look,
we can
I'm-
only expect
I'm-
better things from him.
I'm very shocked they would drop Tyrell Sloan, but obviously Professor Xavier's dad sees something that we don't see. So
Because I'm telling you, he still sleeps in the same bed as his dad does. Bro, you want to talk about boring games? Did you watch the Storm Titans game?
Unfortunately.
I know there was a lot of points in it, but bro, Munster, everything. I can't even pinpoint anyone, but did you see the amount of brain snaps, the amount of fuckery that was going on?
He just swung his
ball was-
boot at stuff. He just swung his boot and
Bro,
said try.
Greg Bellamy left the box like 6 times that
Yeah.
game because he didn't know if he wanted to stab himself or Munster.
but I think that Storm game, like they were depleted after playing Origin. But not only that, I think they knew they had him covered and they were just trying anything at that point. They were just letting the minutes go by. But what the Titans I did like is Jaden Campbell looks really good at fullback, man. I can't see him as a halfback.
Thank you. Someone else actually agrees with
I
me.
think he's a much better fullback than he is a halfback. I think they need a controlling half. Maybe Kieran Foran could be that shining light for them, but there's just too many fullbacks, too many elusive players there. No one actually controlling the team. When you got a team stacked with Kinney, Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson, you can't play all 3 of them. 2 of them is pushing it even. I'd only have 1 of them in that team.
Yeah, well, it's hard to keep Brimson out. Kinney, I think they're going to have to sacrifice Kinney. Out of all 3 of them, I think they have to sacrifice Kinney.
Well, if
Play Brimson at 6.
Kinney has
I
re-signed,
was
so
just going to ask that. Didn't Kinney re-sign for on a
to
long-term deal?
2030.
Far out.
I don't think he's getting moved anywhere.
So then what? Do they miss out on Jaden Campbell?
Look, they're pretty confident with Jaden Campbell at 7, and I think they want to keep Brimson at 6, but maybe move Brimson to 5'8", and also move him to centre, sign a half that can control the game. And I really, really enjoyed seeing Jaden Campbell at fullback. He was their main playmaker, and he did everything for him.
Yeah, it was almost like a Scott Drinkwater sort of fullback where he was their halfback playing at the back.
Exactly.
But
Well, he plays better off that second pass, but he was the one making that last pass, and he looked a lot more dominant in that position.
because he's a quick player. Those quick players, you need them closer to the edge, not in the middle. Their halves tend to play more centralised. But do you see a player that's on the market that could sort of fix their halfback problems? Or like there's a Sandon Smith who you can play at halfback.
Mate, do Titans swallow their pill and go back to Sexton?
Is Sexton going to solve their issues? Because I know there's a lot of Dogs fans and a lot of Dogs critics that are saying Sexton was just a plug. And I agree with it. Like, he was just there to do his job. He wasn't there to win you games.
And look, realistically, from our perspective, when you're going away from Drew Hutchison, anything's going to look like a massive improvement.
Oh, definitely,
Except you.
bro.
That's just uncalled for, completely uncalled for. But
Moving forward, they definitely do need to change something in that position.
No, but like you said, bro, the dogs definitely anything. Like, for example, me, like, you could throw Lockie Ilias back at 7 and I'm going to think it was God's gift to us. But
No, bring back Lachlan Lewis, man.
Don't get me started.
why, so he can
Far out.
tackle Cody Walker at halftime and
At
steal
halftime.
speakers on the way
After
out.
halftime.
Do you reckon he stole that? Of course,
We were winning that game. That was our game to win. He wrecked it for us. I still remember it.
Bro, he had a shit haircut. His haircut was
His
as shit
haircut
as he
was the
was
worst
a
thing in the
player.
world.
He was
Yeah.
that down bad he had to sell speakers. But adding on to that Tigers Storm game, I really like seeing Farlow go on the wing. I like to see him get more involved. I think, personally, he might be a better winger than fullback.
I think he's just too inexperienced to be fullback at the moment. Like, there's fullbacks really involved. Like, you gotta structure your defensive line. You gotta get involved when you need to get involved. You gotta be like that second halfback that is closer to the edge, like I said before. And I don't think he's got that skill set, bro. I think he's just one of those X factor players that's explosive.
Yeah. I can see him as a 14 moving forward. He can bring that explosiveness on in the tired
Bro,
team.
didn't he play at hooker for a bit?
He covered at hooker for just I think like similar to what Jai Gray did.
Yeah.
Cover at hooker for a bit to give the hooker a rest. But
Yeah.
I even remember when the Bulldogs were chasing hard after him as
Yeah.
a replacement at fullback. I can't see him as a long-term fullback. Maybe a good 14, but I don't know. I think he's better on the wing than he is at fullback right now.
Is he a better winger than the Brick?
No.
Not even close.
Brick's
eh?
classy, man.
Yeah, Brick's a great player.
Brick does his job so well, and he knows what to do.
Well, there's a couple more whispers, but I'm not allowed to say them yet.
JC Chalmers.
I'm not allowed to say him yet. You'll hear him very soon.
Okay.
But you want to talk about defense? Don't talk about this game. Tigers and Cowboys, bro. I was watching that game and it was entertaining for the wrong reasons. There's one specific play that comes to my mind. Luai, he bowled the ball like it was a fucking bowling ball in an alley, in a bowling alley.
He did.
Scott Drinkwater dives over the ball. I don't know who was playing centre for Cowboys at the time. Stops, looks at Stafford Toller. Stafford Toller couldn't believe his eyes, goes through. And the Tigers score the first try of one of their comeback tries. That
I turned the game off in the 60th minute.
Yeah, look, I was watching the start of that set. I watched the whole first half, and then I watched the start of the second half, and I saw Cowboys score. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to bother. It wasn't entertaining. But I do feel like Scotty has been taking, not a seat back, but I feel like Purdue gets in his way a lot. I don't really rate Purdue as a 7. I like him. I like him maybe if as a winger who covers in the middle or a centre, covering that roaming role, like we saw Joey Manu do. Even Lomax when he does it a few times.
You know who's been doing it this year as well? Kohler. Kohler's been the perfect second fullback for Manly this year.
I do like Purdue coming in, but I feel like he takes that limelight a lot of Scott Drinkwater. And Scott Drinkwater is such a classy player. He makes that final pass perfect. We even saw Scott Drinkwater was the first or second in the line with Purdue making that final pass as a halfback. It should be the other way around in my opinion.
Scott Drinkwater is... So, like, Dearden is the brain, Scott Drinkwater is the body. So, like, Dearden will organise everything and then Drinkwater will execute it. And Dearden's organising it now, but Purdue can't execute what he wants him to do. And it's affecting them a lot. But their attack, it doesn't look like it's much of an issue. I'm more worried about their defence, bro.
Yeah, definitely. They just fell asleep, man.
Bro, who concedes, what was it, 20 points in like, what was it, 4
minutes,
tries?
15 minutes, bro.
Yeah, it was absolutely
And
crazy.
to think that the only time Cowboys scored their tries was when they had a sin bin.
All
The
the sin bins,
Tigers,
yeah.
there was some harsh sin bin calls, man. Look, I know some were repeated offences, but there was a few harsh ones, man. I wouldn't have given them a sin bin. And you saw Tigers plummeted when they got those sin bin calls.
Yeah, I agree. With the Tigers, bro, that Heath Mason, he came through and he added a new element to them, bro. Like, where I watched him and every time he had that ball on the outside shoulder of his man, like, so if he got past the ball on the outside of his shoulder of his man, he didn't even think about passing. It was run first, pass second.
He was a prime example of another Matt Burton for me. A running half.
Yeah.
He needs that little bit of space, and he's got the speed for it as well. He was chopping and changing like it was nothing.
Bro, there was that try they scored straight off the kickoff where Terrell May gave it to him. They had an overlap, but he had caught it on the outside shoulder of his man, and he backed himself. He's like, I'm going to burn this bloke.
Yeah.
He burnt the fuck out of him, bro.
Yeah, just with a bit of space and a bit of room. I love seeing that running half. And look, Galvin was a player who was playing at that line, but maybe that's the lightning they needed in that team.
Yeah,
you know?
it could be.
To have Luai controlling the game a bit more, because now obviously with Galvin gone, you could see Luai was taking the reins a lot more. It wasn't just Galvin trying to create something and Luai trying to create something on the other side. You could see Luai was actually directing the team around and giving Heath Mason the space that he needed to perform.
Yeah, Luai's the chief.
And I think, look, as I know it might be a harsh call, but I think with Lua and Galvin at the team, they were two head honchos. They couldn't both cooperate with each other.
Yeah.
I think with Galvin out of that team, Lua actually steps up a lot more, and they perform better as a team. They're not relying on one man to do everything for him anymore.
I agree. I think they used to clash a lot as well. They didn't know who wanted to be the main playmaker. But mainly Broncos, bro. We sort of touched on the Broncos. I actually didn't find this boring because I like to watch these games where the big teams start to crumble because you get to see where their weak points are. And for me, the Broncos' weak point is not what everyone thinks. It's just they're not willing to do the 1%ers, bro. It's the 1%ers that win you the game. And the only two players on the field that were doing the 1%ers are Payne, Haas and Carrigan. Yeah. Everyone else is just a passenger to those two players, bro.
Honestly, I felt like it was mainly against Payne Haas.
Literally, there was a point where they kicked it to, they put a kick in behind, he caught it and ran 50 metres. And you're telling me not one back could chase him? And
hey, mind you, he played 50 minutes that game. He played a game of Origin for 50 minutes as well the day before. He was battered and bruised, bro, and he stood up to the occasion. And where's the rest of his team?
How deflating walking into that locker room.
Yeah, and
deflating.
Would you blame him if he wants to say, I'm coming out onto the open market after that? Bro, you put your blood and soul into this team. And you've got players like Ezra fucking Mam, who shouldn't even be in the league, sitting there as a passenger throwing 3 forward passes, bro, in the same half.
Scores a try and he thinks he's going to shut the Manly crowd up.
The
Manly crowd.
He thought he was him.
Honestly, I got to give you... I had a lot to say about the Manly crowd when I was at Manly, but I got to give you guys credit for booing that fuckwit because he deserves every single boo he got. And then the way he got up and he's like, yeah, what now, go fuck yourselves.
I'm just glad they made it to the game on time because Ezra Mam was driving that.
Look, Sam.
After all that, but just cop your medicine. What you've done, score your try, walk back with your teammates, cop your medicine. You deserve it. Yeah. You deserve it. You shouldn't be playing. Cop the booze.
Broncos are 1 from the last 7 games. They look very unenergetic.
Bro, they started like 4 out of their first 5.
And that one game they won in the last 7, they belted us.
They look not interested, man. I don't know if it's coming down to Madge's harsh training resume. Like, can the players keep up, or is it just a matter of, like, I know the players push Kevy Walters out. Do the players have too much of a say over the coach where they're just sick of him and they want him to push him out as well?
Like I said before, I think they're just too lazy. And Madge is one of those players that prides himself on hard work. That's how he won the series with the Blues. If you saw the way we played, especially game 3, bro, it was a grind. He said to him, if you grind out this game, you do those 1%ers, you'll have your break. Yeah. Like, you'll have your lucky break. He's probably gone and implemented that at the Broncos, and he's got those players that don't want to do it, bro. Do you say Reece Walsh working hard? Do you say Ezra Mam working hard?
Rockstar personalities, bro.
No way, bro.
Bro, Shibasaki, Jesse Arthurs. Jesse Arthurs at fullback. What the fuck was that? There was all hair, no play.
Man, they are missing Reece Walsh big time, bro. Yeah.
But even he's had an off year, cuz.
Look, he has had an off year, but he's an out-and-out fullback, man. Like, Jesse Arthurs, you could see a couple of times when they kicked him behind. He actually didn't know where he was. His positioning was awful. I'm surprised halfway through the game to maybe get a spark back in that team, move Arthurs back to the wing and move Cobber back to fullback, because we've seen Cobber's been doing, look, not amazing, but he has a bit of better than what Arthurs was doing.
He has a bit of X factor, but he's also very lazy.
A winger playing fullback. It was a discussion we've had 2 weeks now. Lehigh Hapawari at fullback for Manly. Did you see how energised they look now? Yeah. Do you now agree with what I have to say about the Turbo?
You said to leave him out.
Yes.
I don't think. I think if Hapawari keeps on killing it, bring him in the setters. Push Garrick to the wing.
What do you think, Ben, bro? That performance was a solid performance. It was good to see they had energy.
It was a very nice performance.
It was. I said it last week, bro. If they can transition Leo into fullback, he's doing things that Tommy's not going to do. Well, he could have done in the past, but with the way Tommy's playing at the moment, he's going to offer a lot more than what Tommy can.
Bro, did you see? Like, he's something like 75 kilos, bro, and he's so hard to tackle that even like when he was running back at the prop forwards, they were struggling to put him down, bro. He was making some big post-contact meters. He was busting through, bro.
Look, I think he's a long-term fullback for them, but we even saw in the news today, Manly looking to re-sign Tommy past 26, him and his brother. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I think maybe that could be perfect for Perth if they're looking for another fullback on another team, because Lehigh should be a starting fullback in any team in this comp, without a doubt. And the way he played signified that he's ready to play fullback. I think they should keep him at fullback and try and transition Tommy into a centre. If not, if I was Levi, I'd be getting out of there, bro. I'd be chasing that money and be the starting role somewhere else.
I agree. Benjamin, I don't want to upset you, man.
Oh, please, man. Please.
You guys were in a...
Himothy. He is him.
Yeah, but he is him for 20 minutes of the game. Not for the whole game, 20 minutes. Look what happens when he wants to play. Trel is one of the most damaging players in this comp. He decided he wants to play and he was unstoppable. Tell me who's going to stop him when he's playing like that?
Bro, did you see the try he scored where in his head, he's like, there's no one on this fucking planet that's stopping me, and he just burrowed.
Imagine Trel putting up that performance for 80 minutes of a game.
Who stops him?
No one. No one, bro.
Literally.
It's his gut. His gut's the only thing that's stopping him. Now, look, we were in that game. I watched that game very closely, and it was very frustrating towards the end, but there was that one shit try where the South team just watched them, and we were winning, I think, 14-6 at the top, 14-4 even, because Metcalf was missing his kicks.
Yeah, Metcalf had an off game with the ball.
Bro, we were on top of them. Our line speed was crazy.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they scored this one shit try, and we backed off completely. And then we came out of the second half and looked like we didn't even want to play. Everyone was gassed. And then all of a sudden, 20 minutes to go, we decided we wanted to play. AJ scoring 3 tries, bro.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll go down as one of the best wingers in history. 200 tries. And he's missed about a whole season's worth. And he missed even that season where we had Robert Jennings on the wing, and Robert Jennings scored 20
Yeah, he
plus
scored
tries.
about 20 tries that
Bro,
year.
imagine AJ's playing that. He's breaking the record already.
It's done.
Yeah, he would have broke the record. He's like now 13 behind or something.
Yeah.
But, bro, someone that really caught my eye, we've already spoken about him, bro, Keon, bro.
You know, it's funny. Keane actually doesn't want to be a front rower.
Bro, he said it. It's the third time he said it now, because they've tried to play him prop for like 3 years now, and he keeps saying, I don't want to do the fucking work, but he still does the fucking work.
Is he a top 5 prop in the game?
The way he's playing, definitely.
Easily. On form, easily. Top 3 on form.
Bro, how damaging has he been?
Yeah.
And you could see, look, I even saw a couple of times where he had his hands on his hips. He needed that one set to recover and go again.
Did he play the full 80? He ended up playing the full 80, yeah?
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
Bro, that try he scored as well, like, it just didn't look like anyone was going to stop him.
No one will stop him, man. He played really well, and I've loved seeing him transition into the middle. It's just funny. It kills me how he doesn't want to be there, and he is one of the best players on the field when he's playing there. Doesn't make sense.
It's fucking unreal that he's openly said he doesn't even want to play that position, but
Wayne Bennett doesn't care.
told
Don't give
him,
a
"Shut
shit
up,
what you
idiot."
want.
shut up, idiot. In his Clint Eastwood voice, he would have said, make my day.
That was one of the best games I've seen CNK play for a long time. Shans Nickel-Clockstad.
Shans was unreal. That was his best game as a Warrior.
300 plus running meters, man.
Best
He
game as a
looked
Warrior
like a
for me.
prime Roger Tuivasa-Sheck the way he was playing.
Just without the hips.
The goosey.
Yeah.
He was taking that ball up, but Metcalf had a very off game, man. I haven't seen a half have that many misses from where they were. Like, he had a couple from the sideline, but he had a couple from right in front of him. He shonked completely.
Well, it's what kept you in the game. It was the goal kicking. 'Cause
Definitely.
He missed like, what, 3 goals?
Yeah.
And
At
to
least.
think he gets those kicks, it would have been around a 50-plus score, man.
And then on the other side of the ball, you had Latrell belting him from the sideline and just looking at the crowd like, what more?
He's
Look-
casual with everything he does, but he's just so casual.
But it comes off as cocky, and that's why a lot of
Yeah.
people hate him. I love it. I love the personality he
You
brings.
just say, yeah, fuck it, just kick 50-meter field goal. Who
Hey,
cares?
that bloke.
What are you going to do about it?
That bloke lives for the frustration of other people, man. He can't wait to build up that frustration from other people and then just ace it, nail it like it's nothing.
Look, if he was Leber, he'd be saying, "God."
Definitely, but Aaron Clark has been one of the signing for the season.
I think he's been the best. I think Aaron Clark has been the number 1 best signing in the season.
He's been playing big minutes in that middle role, and he has such good ball work as well, man.
I personally thought them losing Dylan Walker would really hurt them, but Aaron Clark just stepped up in his minutes. And you know what he does? He'll get it off the hooker, he'll show it to the outside, and then he'll run and get some post-contact meters. Or he'll send it out to Metcalf to do whatever he wants
Because he's
with it.
such low gravity, bro. It's so hard to just wrap. He
He's a
reminds me of like
beast.
Sifa, sort of.
He's a beast.
Except he's a lot more smarter than Sifa. He's just like a small little fat idiot that just knows how to run. And it's good luck wrapping your arms around this bloke, bro, when he wants to run.
And
But
his
he's
neck
also
tap.
got the ball
Yeah.
playing.
But insane, I think if South did play the full game, they would have won that game.
Yeah, definitely.
But not only that, look, we did concede a lot of stupid tries, but our attack revolved around one man, Latrell Mitchell. With Jaden Sullivan and Jamie Humphries in the halves, they looked a lot very lost. I think they were struggling without Cody Walker big time.
Look, I got to disagree with you there because Jaden Sullivan actually had a really good game, bro. There was a couple of times where he was an inch away from the try line. Had he had a bit more size on him, he would have scored. Like, if he was a Cody Walker, he would have scored those
Yeah,
tries.
but I don't think Jaden Sullivan starts on the team in this comp, man. Like, I don't rate him that much as a good player. Look, he's been doing his role, but
I can't see him starting anywhere else.
Jamie Humphries we've seen him, he's taken that step back where he's been controlling the team with his kicking and directing the team around. But they really missed Cody Walker big time that game. I think Cody Walker would have been that massive difference for them because we had a lot of sets in their line where they just, when's Latrell going to get the ball and do something? We can't revolve around one man. And when we did, obviously he's going to win us the game, but he only does it for about 15 to 20 minutes of the game. He doesn't do it the whole game. You need someone else to take the limelight off him.
Well, how long until we see Brandon Smith play? Because we saw him on Monday night on Fox, and he was telling everyone that he actually grew up as a Bunnies fan. But I don't know how much I believe this.
Everyone says that when they sign for a club, but his junior club did have the same colours as the Bunnies. I know they wore it was junior club week, and they wore their junior club jerseys, and you could see with the South colours. Maybe that's a reason for it, but I reckon that's all bullshit. When you sign for another club, it's just all for the media and press. Look, I always want to play for this club. I love this club.
Didn't he grow up in New Zealand? Wasn't he born in New Zealand?
He's a Kiwi, bro.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know.
Do you reckon David Kidwell made him a Rabbitohs fan?
Did you guys
he's
have
a
any...
sheep shagger, man.
Nah, but do you reckon he could sort of help out as well in the middle?
In the halves? No. In the middle, yes.
No, but like maybe he can unlock the halves by taking that pressure off the ruck from him.
If Havili can't do it, he's not doing it.
Havili doesn't know anything besides tackle and run, cuz.
Bro, how many times did you want to go for the try?
Bro, he just burrows his head and it's like Sam Thaiday just with a buzz cut.
I like him.
He's good.
Who, Sam Thaiday or Havili?
Both.
I don't think Brandon Smith can unlock the halves in the sense that you're thinking of. I think he's more of an impact player where he can actually swing the momentum to help the halves, if that's what you're trying to say. But in giving the halves more willpower to do, I can't see him actually affecting the game plan much. He's more just of a momentum player that can get the team going a bit more forward and make that impact when he comes on as a good 14.
If there's a quick play the ball, he can get out and cause some damage.
Definitely. Take a couple of scoots, put a big hit on that might swing the momentum of the game. Yeah. That's what he's made for.
Do you think his best position is 9 or 13?
That's a tough one, bro, because me personally, I don't think he starts in either of those roles. I think he comes on from the bench. Whether he plays 9 or 13 off the bench, to me it's the same thing because he's going to bring that impact. So I can't... It's really much of a muchness. For me, personally, if he's starting off the bench, if he's going to start, I think he's a better 9 than 13 because he gets gassed out a lot quickly because he gives 100% effort and he's not made for big minutes. He's made for impact. So
I think he's a better 13, to be honest.
I don't know, bro. I still can't decide where he's better at.
I think he's better at 13.
Like you said, bro, he gets so gassed. And you know who else gets so gassed? And it's so funny to watch because it happens after 2 minutes. And I know you know who I'm going to say. Lockie Hubner, cuz what's wrong with him?
Bro, he's got his hands on his hips after 10 minutes of playing.
Bro, you think he's a ballerina the way he walks around with his hands on his hips? Cuz he walks around like he's just been shot by a double barrel shotgun.
I think he just gives 150% effort that he just gasses himself.
He does work hard.
What, every tackle he's fucking 150.
Yeah, but in saying that, he's not starting with a full fit team, bro. Cameron Murray's there, and like that's his position. He's just
he'd be changing so much for you guys.
100%, bro.
He'd be changing 100%,
so and that's the thing. We actually lost that 13 ball. Look, Hubner's he's not bad with the ball, and we've seen him. He's got a few tries this year playing that short ball, but Cameron Murray is so much more effective in that middle. It's taken out a lot of aspect to our game.
Look, I know you guys are upset, especially like Bunnies fans, and I'm upset as well that Cam Murray is injured, but I think this was the best thing to happen to him moving forward because he looked like...
Yeah, he needed it, definitely.
Yeah, he looked like he needed some time off
he
footy,
needed
bro.
A year off, bro. Like, he just put in too much effort. He's similar to Hubner. He had a better injury than Hubner, but he is another player who gives 150% effort that he just ruins himself.
Bro, did you see every time he would run onto the field, it looked like he had a second head coming out of his shoulder. That's how much strapping he had.
Bro, he went from an 80-minute player to a 50-minute player. Imagine that's a big transition, man. That's how much effort he's been putting in and how much stamina he's lost over that period.
Bro, and they even transitioned him to a prop at one stage just so he can get less workload.
100%, bro.
But I think this could possibly be the best thing to happen to Cam Murray in terms of long term.
We obviously won't know till next year when he comes back. I think
they reckon he might be back round 22.
I spoke to him the other day. He was pushing for around 23 or 4, depending on how South were going.
Are you friends with Cameron Murray?
His brother is.
I played with Cameron in the juniors. Cameron's a lovely boy, but
football friend.
When I spoke to him the other day, he told me they were really trying to push him for around 22, around 23 to come back, depending on how South were going. But he actually got an infection off the surgery.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So that pushed him back to the original date. It was meant to be end of the season, maybe even grand final, semi-final time. that was his original period. They pushed him to come back earlier, but it's been pushed back to that period. So depending on how South's going, I don't think we'll see him again this
I
year.
remember I was speaking to your dad and he was telling me that you spoke to him and he said that he got delayed, but he didn't actually tell me he got infected, bro.
No, it was an infection, yeah.
I thought it was just like a rehab thing where it's just not healing the way it should have.
I think it wasn't healing the way it should have, and they kept on pushing him to the point where it actually led to an infection.
Fuck, poor bloke, bro.
Yeah.
Give him our regards, not that he gives a fuck. My game of the round this week was actually Eels versus Panthers.
Easy.
I don't know if you guys watched it to the to the intent that I watched it, but bro, that Moses versus Cleary, it's like they said, yes, we're mates at Blues, but here we're gonna outdo each other. And every time Moses put up a bomb, Cleary would put up a bomb. Every time Moses would do something for Parramatta, Cleary would do something for Penrith. And obviously, Penrith at the end came out on top just because they have a more well-rounded team than Parramatta, and they've just more experience.
Look here, I think Cleary was your player to watch last week, wasn't he?
Nah, mine was I can't even remember who my player to watch was. Scott Drinkwater.
Was
he
it?
didn't deliver
I
to
thought
me.
it was Cleary. Someone
No, I said the matchup to watch was
Yeah,
Cleary versus Moses,
definitely.
and it did deliver.
Look, I think Eels have been improving a lot. I think Jason Riles got off onto the wrong foot.
Yeah.
But he definitely looks like he's building a team that's improving, and he's relying a lot on the youngsters, man. He's pushed out, like, Ryan Madison doesn't even look like a first grader anymore to me.
Yeah,
He's lost his touch completely. I know they got a few injuries, like even Bryce Cartwright still gets to come back. And
He's playing cup, isn't
No,
he?
he's playing cup, bro.
Oh, he got dropped.
Yeah, he got dropped
From the start of the year,
completely.
Cartwright and Madison. See you later.
Wow.
Because he's one of those players that doesn't want to play football unless it's
And
fancy.
you can tell Jason Riles is just like, he's a hard work sort of
Yeah,
coach.
definitely.
Yeah.
Bryce Cartwright's not a hard work
Well,
sort
bro,
of player.
if you ever watched Jason Riles play football, he was
I
just
did.
a fucking
Yeah, I watched
brick.
plenty of him.
Riles has got his plan, and it's slowly starting to come into action, and I think it will further. But if Parra played like a top 4 side, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
they were very, very
Literally.
good.
They looked really
Yeah.
good, man. If they can continue that, I can see him pushing into the top 8 eventually.
Bro, both teams played like a top 4 team. It almost felt like a semi-final they were playing.
It actually felt like a rematch of 2022 at
Yeah.
one stage, man.
Bro, I sort of have to feel sorry for the Eels because if they play anyone else, I think they beat 90% of the competition
Look, I think if Eagles play the way they did last round,
for the rest of the season.
the
They
rest-
make the 8.
but even from the start of the season, they'll be a top 4 side.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Penrith actually showed us a glimpse of what we've been missing out on this whole time, man.
Yeah.
They look like they returned to their original form they were gonna
Are
come.
they going to make the 8?
Man, it's crazy. What are they? 4 points off the 8 now?
They're
Three.
3, man.
3
They're
points.
3. Why did I say they won't make it last week?
Mate, last week
I still don't
we're
think
talking
they're
about
making
them
it.
last week, not even making it, but they do lose their players, and it's hard to back up after Origin. Look, they
Yeah, it
played
is.
really well to back up after Origin, but during that Origin period, it's the biggest downfall for them.
Do you not think that maybe because Paris side is so young and they all probably pulled out their best performance of the season, they didn't get it done, they might dip in confidence from that?
Nah, you know what it is? I know Jason Rolls.
Personally?
No, not personally. Would I be here if I knew Jason Rolls personally? Nah, but I know that Jason Rolls is going to be the type of bloke because especially that he is trusting the youngsters. I think that he's going to say to him, look, you went toe-to-toe with the team that went 4 years in a row, and the only thing that cost you at the end was your errors in your own half, bro. It was just those little silly mistakes that where if they held their ball, they actually probably would have won that game because
Yeah.
they were getting over Penrith at some
Yeah,
And
point.
what was the final score? 18 to 10?
18-10, bro.
But to lose 18-10 to 10 to Penrith, I think there was a lot more positives than negatives. For
In Penrith's
Parra
best
coming out
performance
that.
of the year by a mile.
Yeah, look,
100%.
I know we're all saying Penrith bottom four, whatever, not making the 8, but the reality is they've won 4 fucking grand finals in a row,
Yeah.
and Parramatta went toe-to-toe with them. And you know something that I really enjoyed watching was Dylan Brown finally looked back to his 2020, was it 2022, the year that they made the grand final?
Yeah.
He started to look like himself back then. He started to look like he's enjoying his footy again. I personally think that was his best game, or like this is his best patch of games in 3 years.
You know, it's funny. They had Lomax and Moses on the right, and they didn't even favour them over Dylan Brown and Sean Russell, bro.
Bro, the only time I saw Lomax get the ball was when Moses got it like 3-man in from the ruck, and then he reversed the kick straight back to him. You could tell that's their game plan.
Yeah.
But other than that, Dylan Brown looked like their main playmaker, bro.
He did. He went from taking a seat back to Dean Hawkins last week to stepping up to Moses.
Telling Moses,
Yeah.
hang out a bit, brother.
Yeah, far out.
You can go have your Ojanna chicken. I'm gonna.
That's a massive jump, man. But you can actually see Riles has his game plan, and it's starting to click for them, and they can be very deadly, bro.
I don't know. I don't know what you boys think, but I think Adokar has been like an amazing signing for
Yeah,
them.
and he's
I think
re-signed for
Adokar
him as well.
he's
Yeah, he extended a year.
Yeah, he extended by a year, and I feel like he went there with a point to prove. He had this reputation of just being lazy. He's fast. That's all he's got.
I
to
think
his
the
game.
reputation was different to that, bro.
Yeah, he had a bit of off-field reputation, bro.
Aside from that,
As long as his
What do you mean
phone,
aside
as
from
long as
that?
his phone's charged, he'll be all right.
he's
Nah.
been working a lot harder this year than what I saw him doing for the Bulldogs last year, at least.
Well, yeah, you're right. He definitely does have a point to prove, and he has been playing well. I think he suits that team a lot.
Definitely, yeah.
Any team that he goes to, if they're able to utilize him to his best assets, then he's gonna.
He's good for young players as well. He's good for bringing young players into the team.
It's good
and
for
making them
culture as well,
comfortable.
bro.
This is
Very
morale
good
around
for
the team
culture.
as well.
Yeah.
Like when your team's feeling lethargic and stuff, you could just
And
say
you hear
picture
that
him.
fucking laugh.
He's such
Mate.
an idiot, bro.
Him, Lomax, and Samrani are just the culture of that club at the moment. They're always making jokes at each other.
Bro, do you see like their behind the scenes videos
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah,
bro? They're
yeah.
so funny.
They call each other the beak. Both. How bad are their noses? Man? I thought I had a bad nose, bro. Have you seen side on Samrani and
Bro,
Lomax's
yeah.
nose?
Did you see what Jason Ross when they were doing their predictions for Origin and they're like, what did he say? The beak or whatever he was.
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
like putting that
yeah.
on him.
Because Samrani said good luck to the beak as mentioned to Lomax, and then
He goes, Rich coming from me.
Yeah.
Nah, but bro, it was really good. It was really good to see Dylan Brown back into his form because now he's sort of starting to prove that he can be that $1 million player for
Yeah,
Knights. Is he gonna solve their problems? Probably not.
I don't
because
think
they're
so, man.
fucking
Their
shit.
their
A lot worse
problems
problems
are a lot
than that.
deeper than
Yeah.
Dylan Brown, man.
But yeah, bro. Question. Maybe question of the round. What the fuck do they feed Marky Mark? What do they? How does he? Does he have springs in his fucking ankles?
He
brother?
must know Shane Flanagan.
I'm telling you.
Why are you assuming that he's taking some sort of supplements that Shane Flanagan did?
That didn't seem natural to me. That did not seem like a normal human being.
The X factor that this kid has, man, it's crazy to think that he was playing a different sport last year, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
he's one of the highest X factor player in the game.
Yeah.
Bro, did you see how fucking high he jumped? Bro, AFL players wish they could jump like him.
Bro, one week he's hopping off one leg and kicking with the other, and the next week he's jumping over players who did he jump over?
It was Tamale.
And Tamale can
Yes.
jump.
Yeah.
Tamale can jump, bro.
Bro,
Chris couldn't believe his eyes. Did you see Seb Chris?
yeah, he was like,
He was blown away.
Nah, that's just his boogly eyes.
I think Seb Chris doesn't know what planet he's on regardless, bro.
Hey, that
Did you see him against the Dogs? Because I'm going to go back to this point. There was a point where Stephen Crichton was running with the ball and Chris was defending, but he had his back turned running away from Crichton.
I think they're just waiting for Tamale to transition into centre so they can get rid of Chris, bro.
Well,
Chris is
Tamale
looking
came
at-
through as a centre, bro.
Yeah.
I watched him coming through. He was always that strong, bro. What a player. I wish we never got rid of him, but, bro, it's something like he had like 13 tackle busts that game, bro. What's wrong with this
Incredible,
bloke?
bro. Look, I think even if Albert Hopewadi was 100% fit, I can see them moving Tamale into centre and then playing Albert Hopewadi on the wing, or even vice versa. But I don't know how Chris gets a start in that team.
I
man.
think Seb Chris needs to go and have that Rapana sort of time off where we're like, you did all right now. Please move on so we can start to move these players through. But
Definitely.
bro, for me, Tamale is probably the rookie of the year, and close behind him is Halasima. But the way that Tamale has fucking come into this team, and bro, he's just. It looks like a nightmare to try and defend against this kid who's only 19 years old, bro. How much better can this kid get?
He's so elusive and so strong, man.
Are you
Bro.
eligible for Rookie of the Year if you played a game last year,
Yeah, I
played
think
one
it's-
game,
I think
bro.
it's 5 games. You can't play more than 5 games.
leading into this season?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, Taruva got it in his second year, bro. Remember?
yeah, and he debuted a couple of
Yeah,
times
that's
the year
right.
before.
Yeah.
So I think it is 5 games, but more importantly, I think Owen Paddy was the player of that game, man.
I was gonna talk about it. I think Owen Paddy was the reason that we didn't really see Raiders sort of lose their control around the field when Fogarty was gone.
That game might have been too far gone without Owen Paddy there to bring them
Yeah,
back
bro,
in a few
did you
times.
see like he had Ethan squared, I'm gonna say, because they
Yeah,
had
Ethan
two
squared.
Ethans in the halves.
Yeah.
But he's like, I know you guys are young. I'm gonna try and control the ruck for you guys, so I'll give
I'm
you
also
space.
young. Owen Paddy, not me. Fuck, move on. Owen Paddy's a young man.
Did he just call himself Hudson Young?
That's not what I said.
Anyway,
Anyways, Owen Paddy, he was like, I'm gonna actually give you guys some space to run around, and I'm gonna control the ruck for you, so it doesn't put as much pressure on you. And he knew this is what I like. His intelligence was, we rely on Fogarty to actually do that. So someone needs to stand up, and Ethan Squared's not gonna do it.
100%. But you know what the biggest impact for him was? And I haven't seen, like, I'm going to glaze my brother a bit now because he was a good player at hooker. But not many hookers offer a good kicking game.
Yeah.
He had 2 40-20s as a rookie in the same game. The whole kicking game brings a whole brand new aspect to being a hooker. It stands out. And Tom Starling can offer you the running game. So did he. So can he. And he did it plenty of times.
Yeah.
But the kicking game is a whole other aspect to being a hooker. If you can offer a kicking game, man, it takes you to another level after that.
Bro, he absolutely dominated the ruck for that Roosters game, bro. The Roosters didn't have an answer for him.
Man, he turned the team around. And it reminds me of my brother, because my brother coming through was one of, I can remember, the only hooker that would actually have a good kicking game. He would kick the ball, sit it in the dead ball line, and let the team fight out for their position. Not only that, he could kick a 40-20 as well. You don't see many hookers doing that at all these days.
Well, yeah, it's good to say that these Raiders youngsters, bro, they're gonna dominate for a very long time if they can keep them together.
And they got not only to have good juniors, but they actually put a lot of faith in young promising players from other teams. We've seen it with Tamale and Ethan Sanders. You can see they're not just playing to win this season. They're playing to win it in 5 years. But at that 5-year mark coming in time, every single player in their team would have been playing with each other for about 4 or 5 years now. All came off youth contracts into transitioning to first graders. I think they're going to be the team to beat within the next 5 years.
Are they statistically the youngest team in the NRL?
Definitely. You look at their team. Who's the oldest player other than Papali'i? Then I think Tarpany is actually the oldest in that
Probably
team.
Tarpany, yeah.
And Tarpany is what, 29, 28?
Bro, the rest of them are younger than 24, bro. Like Hudson Young's 24.
Fogarty's 31 or so.
Yeah, but he's fucking off next year, bro. They've got Ethan Sanders
Mate.
and Strange, who are both 19 years old in the halves.
The way Ethan Sanders played, he didn't look like a rookie at all. He looked like a veteran, bro.
Because the way he came in and took fucking Fogarty's shoes, and bro, it's almost like it's almost like he had been there for 2-3 years.
Ricky,
really well,
what a
man.
halves coach to learn from, but Ricky Stewart, one of the best halves of all time. And he's a man he's a man manager. He's a confidence coach.
Man,
He'll get you up for it. He'll
how
get
can
you up
you hate
for
Ricky, bro?
it. You can't hate
Sticky.
Ricky.
Just seeing him chewing his gum on the sideline, stressing. Even when I think as a Roosters it came close to scoring or Raiders, you could see him jumping up with his hands on his head. And he was like, oh, like he gets so into it, bro. When do you see a coach sit on the sideline?
There's no one else like Ricky. There's no one else.
How can you hate him, bro?
Bro, I can't hate him personally, but I honestly hope for the sake of the Raiders, because I'm a big I'm not gonna say I'm a big fan of the Raiders, but like they're a team I really don't mind watching. And after watching that 2019 grand final, I feel like they need their justice, and I hope they win a grand final within the next 3 years for their fans.
I want to be upset with Raiders winning a grand final.
Man, they're out of Sydney. Like, how can you hate them? It's not like they're a Queensland or Melbourne team. Like, how can you hate them? But I think more importantly, like even Weeks stepped up a lot, and he's been playing really well.
Bro,
for
he
them,
goes
man.
under the radar. I've been singing his praises for the last 2 years, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's not ready to take that team to the next level." But
you know what it is? Even I think Raiders had 48 or 49 tackles inside the Roosters 20.
they dominated
they peppered
the
their line,
fuck
bro.
out of them.
They peppered their line.
Look, I know the game ended at 26-24, whatever it was, but bro, that scoreline doesn't show how much they got dominated on the field, the Roosters.
Yeah, but the Raiders had about 20 minutes straight on the Roosters line, and they didn't crack in that first half.
But that's the good thing. They didn't crack, but the Raiders didn't shy away. 90%
The young
of the
halves
times,
didn't panic. The young halves
90%
didn't
of the
panic,
times
yeah.
you'll see the team starts to shy away. Fuck, we
Yeah.
need to change our game plan. They stuck to the same thing that
And
they were
yeah,
taught.
they
You could
did.
see that those 20 minutes that they defended on their line eventually wore out the Roosters.
Yeah,
It was more of a Roosters solid defense rather than Raiders shit attack, because Raiders were
agreed.
throwing everything at them,
Yeah,
and
agreed.
Roosters had
Yeah.
their
They-
answers.
They offered a lot. It wasn't like a team where even the Broncos, where you can see them attacking the Manly line, they didn't offer anything.
Yeah, it was just
It's just passed left to right.
Yeah.
But Raiders were actually creating something. But Roosters didn't play bad either, and it makes you wonder, Sandon Smith, what's going to happen when Walker comes back, man?
And what's going to happen when
Sanders-
they sign DCE?
well, Sandon Smith is going, bro. I think he's gonna either end up at Perth Bears, cut his losses for a year, or I don't know who's gonna fit him, because there's not many
Titans.
teams. How Toronto's gonna fit him, bro? They need a 7.
Yeah, they need a controlling half. Smith, eyes up footy half. And Raiders haven't had a bye yet. 11 wins, 2 losses.
For me, they're the best team in the comp right now.
Bro, they've got another
I know
3.
you're gonna beg to differ, but they are the
They've
best.
got
I
another
actually
guaranteed
don't.
6
I actually
points.
don't beg to differ.
Another guaranteed 6 points. Like a lot of the top footy people are saying They deserve to be first over Dogs because Dogs have only played 11 and won 9 games.
Because realistically, we beat them, but I didn't feel like we were better than them that day.
And that makes me wonder, like,
really
speaking
didn't.
about that game, bro, like, how did they, like, considering how
Switch
they've been
off for
playing
40
this year,
minutes
like, how
straight.
did they blow
Yeah.
a 20-0 lead?
It's not like them, man.
I reckon Sticky would have gotten up there.
Does that just come down to just us being more up for the half? Does it speak to a
No,
better
I think-
team or a worse team?
I think
it
you guys
was,
had more experience in the positions where you needed them to, like, ride you home. Was if these players, they got a bit of a shock and they, like, went into their shell.
Yeah.
But not only that, you guys had a lot of errors that first half.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you held
yeah.
the ball, you actually looked like you could do something. But I think it was more so poor game management from the Raiders to not hold out that 20-point
They
lead.
barely touched the ball in that
Yeah.
second half.
You
They barely
guys starved
touched
them from the
it.
ball. And when you
Yeah.
when you starve a team from the ball, they're not going to score any points, you
Yeah.
know? And you can only defend, like in the Roosters, you can only defend for so long until you actually start to get gassed and slip up and you can't actually control the ball anymore.
Well, lads, based off those games, who were your players of the round?
Mine is Sean's nickel Clockstad. I thought he absolutely killed it. Best game for the Warriors. Over 300 metres ran against that South pack. I thought he was unreal.
It's a good shout, bro.
He did play really well. But I'm going to go the opposite to you. I think Latrell or Kean. I can't pick either of them. I think that was probably one of the best performances from Latrell in a long time. Even though it was only for 20 minutes, he still played like one of the best players in the game. And Kean was so solid in that.
He just
middle.
does stuff that you don't forget. Eh?
Bro,
He makes you think about him when he's not playing.
Honestly,
Yeah.
he just leaves that presence behind. What about you, Gene?
For me, it's Lehigh, bro. The way that he unlocked what was the potential of the Manly attack. Their right side finally saw the ball. And we've been talking about it for the last 3-4 weeks where Garrick and Olakawatu weren't actually being used. And that was probably Olakawatu's best game. And that's based on the fact that Lehigh Hopewadi takes so much pressure off the attack because he can be present. I know Tommy Turbo is a great player and probably at this ceiling, 10 times the player of Lehigh Hopewadi. But unfortunately, bro, he's not performing to what he should be this year. And Lehigh Hopewadi just took that Manly team to another level where you're looking at this team and you're like, bro, on their day, is there anyone that can actually beat this team? So, for me, I have to give it to Lehigh.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
It's nice.
Player of the round. Now we've got to go to Flanno Express of the round.
Here we go, my favourite segment.
Okay. You've been a bit hyped up about this. Did you want to go first, Ben?
Look, I've got... It's hyped up because this bloke fucking frustrates the shit out of me, man. I don't know how he has a job. Block a fucking roach. How does he have a job, man? He can't pronounce words, and I'm honestly, it's getting to the point where I actually want to watch the game on mute. I can't cope with it anymore. It's so frustrating, bro. Nickel Cockstar. Who the fuck's Nickel Cockstar? I never heard Nickel Cockstar before. It's not his name. There's no cock in his name. Where's the cock in his name? I don't know how he gets a name.
Why does he
Not
keep
only
saying,
that-
where's the cock?
What about Walesniak, bro?
Bro, was Zizniak. He butchers it. And Tom Dearden, I think in that Cowboys and Tigers game, he's in the commentary box saying, oh, Dearden's in every tackle.
Every
He's been
important
making
tackle.
Every important tackle. He's been there. Bro, he led in 2 tries because he couldn't make a tackle.
Bro, you know which one pissed me off the most?
Isaiah Tass.
We were watching the Souths game, and it was the shit try where like 75 players went to kick the ball and they missed it, and like the initial contest was between 2 players. I can't remember who. It was Rocco Berry and I can't remember the Souths player. And
Jamie Humphreys.
Jamie Humphrey, and they were like going back and forth with their shoulders, and then the I think it was Belinda Sharp or whoever, Casey Badger, whoever the fuck was in the bunker. She clears the contest and he goes, "Oh, look at what Tass does here!
He's coming
look
in,
at what
he's
Tass
coming
does
in,
here!"
and he just fell over the player, bro.
Tass falls over himself. It's like Tass is taking him out here.
Oh, look
this
at
should
that.
be a sin bin.
Professional foul. I mean, he, honestly, between him and Joey Johns, I don't know who's worse at commentary.
Easy blocker.
No,
Easy.
I actually, it's going to
Bro,
the point
have you
where...
actually heard Joey Johns talk?
Yes.
He
I
complained the fucking goal kicking on the ball sizes, and he refused to admit that he was wrong. He's like, "Oh, maybe it's the design
He's
of
no
it."
mortal. He can do what he wants.
It's getting to the point where I actually can't watch. I have to watch it on mute. I can't listen to Blocker Roach
He gets
anymore.
2-3 games a week as well.
I know.
How
He
the
doesn't just get one. He gets 2 or 3
know,
every single
bro.
week.
How the fuck is he in the commentary box, bro? We keep mentioning this
Don't
bloke.
about-
How is he still
In the
there?
commentary box, how does he have a job? He can't even pronounce words, bro. How does he have a job, this bloke?
Bro, I'll never forget one of the worst takes I've ever heard, and I wanted to punch the fuck out of my TV because it was in a Dragons game. It was Dragons against Penrith, and this was like a couple years ago. And it's the year we finished 16th, and they fucking won the grand final and finished minor premiers. And he goes, "Oh, the Dragons are playing so bad here. They keep passing the ball backwards to go forwards." How else are you meant to fucking pass the ball, brother?
He's hopeless, man. Look, he was. I think he's not even part of the Flanno Express anymore. He's got his own bus, bro.
Oh, bro, he doesn't even fit in the
No,
Flanagan
he's the Blocker Roach Express. He needs a ticket for the whole fucking bus. That's how much. That's
The
how
Roach Rocket, baby.
No, he needs his own
Wallah,
express.
the Roach Rocket. We might start something else because the Roach
I
Rocket.
think the Red Roach Rocket.
When we just, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna load up players that have butchered names and just load them up on the Red Roach Rocket.
Just trap them with Blocker, just make him keep saying it.
Look, he's gonna get listed every week. So let's put that aside. My actual Flanno Express for the week is Jaden Sewer. Jaden Sewer has been going around and biting those players. They don't know how to score a try anymore, man. What's going on?
So wild, so
Butchered
weird.
2 tries over the line.
Ever since he's dropped it, bro, it's not like only the Dragons, bro. We've seen it across every single game. Players dropping it over
I think he's like the cheese touch. He's giving it to everyone now.
Remember the one Toya did against the Dogs?
Bro, that was
That
worse.
won us the game. That won
was-
us the game.
That was worse. Who else did it a couple weeks ago, bro? Last week, someone did it absolutely.
Hey, that girl in the Origin game. Did you see how
Oh,
bad that was?
yeah.
Kelly, Isabel Kelly.
Yeah.
How bad was that, bro?
She just forgot. She
No,
forgot to put it down.
she's the cheese touch. she was worse than
Because
Jaden
her
Sewer.
elbow was on the floor and then she just got up.
Nah.
Oh, bro, you want to talk about butchered tries? Almost the butchered try of the century. I can't believe we didn't mention it. Fucking Daniel Tupou.
Hey.
He lagged out.
He didn't butcher it. He didn't butcher it.
And the ref,
technically.
the ref signaling to him.
I'm
Like,
gonna
come
play
on,
on,
bro, come
play
on.
Bro, I'm going to reenact him. Ball down, looks up, spits up, and he's like, the ref's like, fucking put the ball down, cunt.
Hey, he's just lucky that Hudson Young went fucking
Overran
flying,
it,
bro.
yeah.
He came in hard to try and stop that try, and this bloke's just looking at him like that.
Bro, do you remember the worst butchered try in history? I'm going to put it in an edit. Robert Jennings last year for the fucking Dolphins when he
Oh,
caught the
yeah,
ball
yeah.
and he falls over and there's no one near him and he just sleeps on the floor and Cody Nikarima was about to stab him.
Losing it at him.
Lost it, yeah.
I'm going to put it in an edit, but
That bloke doesn't have a job anymore.
who's your Flanno Express?
My nomination to go on the Flanno Express this week is Peter Goth. He's been brought up in episode 1. That Panthers and Para game, they still turned it into an entertaining game, but he wrecked the whole flow of it. 8 penalties in the first 30 minutes. He doesn't understand our sport. I understand refereeing is a hard job. Man, you're under duress. You got to run almost as much as the players. You got to make decisions in real time.
That was a good play. I did turn over the game a lot in the fact that you could see the players just walking around from left to right.
Yeah,
it was a rematch of 2022 grand final. It's meant to be an entertaining game.
Our game is
Let the play flow,
Our
bro.
game is played at its best when players are under fatigue. That's when the X Factor stars come into it.
Yeah.
When there's a million penalties, no one gets tired.
Takes out that fatigue aspect of the
Literally,
game.
like you
100%.
said, bro,
Yeah.
the good players play good when everything's fine, but the great players play good when everyone's tired.
Yeah.
And there was a period of time where the ball stayed in play for about 10 minutes, and then he's like, nah, this doesn't seem right, penalty.
Yeah.
And then, bro, every 30 seconds, it's a penalty.
The perfect example of that, of like prime players rise to the top. I don't know if you remember, it would have been in the early 2010s. Tigers were versing Para. In the same game, Benji threw like a 15-meter flick out the back to Blake Ashford or Chris Lawrence. 10 minutes later, Jared Hayne did his famous chip and chase.
And that one overshadowed everything in that
Yeah,
game.
it did.
But, yeah, that's a good shout. My Flanno Express.
More importantly, who is your Flanagan?
My Flanno Express. I can't even put any Dragons players because we won. But my Flanno Express, I gotta stare down the camera for this. Queensland, you bunch of fucking coward dogs. Listen to me. You went and fucking talk about Spencer Leniu being number 1 fucking enemy in all of Queensland. And when he comes onto the field, you go and kick away from him. You fucking coward dogs. If this was 10 years ago, I'm telling you, Queensland kicks the ball straight to Spencer and they fucking hit him with the biggest shoulder charge that they've ever seen in NRL history.
Bro,
True. Cameron Smith even said it.
It was actually bad to watch because you could see Spencer Leniu doesn't know what's going on, man. But yeah, look, it was good. It was good to see
Yeah.
the fact that Queensland are actually fearing one of our forwards.
We're doing what we got to do. We're understanding Origin now.
Bro, the fact that Queensland are actually scared of us, they kick to the other side,
Yeah.
and you can see him on the mic. Yeah, what do you say? Like, you fucking pussies. Like, what a bunch of pussies,
Yeah.
bro.
Did you
imagine having that much of an influence?
Yeah.
The fact that they're kicking to the other side to you.
Did you see how Billy Slater explained it?
Oh, bro, they're just looking
I
anyway
know.
to avoid.
I
Look,
know.
obviously, you're not. That's one of his best aspects to his game.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to kick to someone who has the best aspect
Yeah,
of his
try and
game
take it
like
off
that.
him.
Of 100%. And to be honest, I would have done the same if I was in Queensland.
Yeah.
But the fact that they labelled him as enemy number one and then just do something like that
Hit this
makes
Blues
you
grub,
wonder.
they said. They said hit this Blues grub. And then they didn't even have the fucking balls to kick it at him.
Makes
Did you see
wonder,
Willie
bro.
Mason losing about it?
Yeah,
Mason he swore like 40 times in a 1 minute clip.
that bloke is so just straighty 180.
Yeah.
He'll tell you how it is.
He's just an old schooler.
Yeah,
Willie
but-
Mason is a classic.
But he's so passionate about the game because
Yeah.
that was one of his greatest aspects as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Off the back fence, such a hard, strong forward. To see a forward like that just go out the window.
Just no fear, man.
I can't believe that. Why wouldn't you want to kick to him? Like,
Yeah.
does it actually scare him that much? Were they actually worried that much?
If they kick it to him and they belt him, Suncorp lifts. That game can change.
Oh, guaranteed.
That game
bro.
can
Bro,
change
that's
at that
what that's
point.
what Origin's built on. It's
Yeah.
built on that rivalry where like we want to get you back. Like he disrespected one of their greatest players of all time, JT. He went and did something racially abusive towards Ezra Mam, who plays at Suncorp Stadium, and now he's come to Suncorp Stadium and he's G'ing him up. I don't know if you saw him warming up on the
Yeah,
sidelines,
yeah.
going you fucking dogs, and then when he comes on, they kick away from him.
But can you imagine the raw if Spencer gets puts on his ass?
Exactly. That changes that game,
Bro,
without a
forget
doubt.
about
I think we were all waiting for that moment where Spencer
Oh,
came on and
100%.
fucking ran
But
at him.
even here, the Queensland fans gene up
Yeah.
when they kick off, and everyone's just laughing after that. They actually embarrass themselves by doing that.
Definitely.
Very bad. Guys, I got a hot take segment.
Okay.
I want to know if you guys have any hot takes this week.
My hot take. Well, it's not really for a week. If we're going to relate it just to
No,
hot
it doesn't
take in
have to
general.
be this week, but I'm saying like your hot take this week.
My hot take after seeing what the Raiders juniors can do, I got them, and not only them. I think the Dragons have a very good young crop of players coming through. I think Raiders or Dragons are due for a premiership within the next 5 to 10 years, if not both of them. They're going to be a team to beat, and not only that, Bulldogs got young juniors coming through. I think the Gus Gould influence on the rugby league world has made such a difference where everyone's actually investing in their youth now.
Yeah.
They're actually setting up for that 10-year plan where, okay, we might have the players now, but let's focus on more how we can transition in this young crop of forwards
Yeah.
or backs into our game and into our team, where we can influence them over the next 10 years.
People have started caring about their juniors out of nowhere.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Look, we had a team like Roosters. Roosters were buying players left, right, and centre, but they actually fielded majority of their junior players
Yeah.
against the Raiders. We haven't seen Roosters do that since they actually had juniors coming through in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I look at it now, I think Roosters only have a couple of teams in their juniors. They've merged with the South Comp because actually no one wanted to play in that area anymore. That's why they've resorted to signing all these players and setting up shop elsewhere.
Look, I agree with you. I think the Raiders and Dragons, just to expand on your hot take, I think the Raiders and Dragons are going to be the new Penrith and Storm within the next 5 years. What's your hot take?
Mine is apparently boiling, according to someone.
Wait until you guys hear this. Wait until you guys hear this fucking idiot's hot take.
We'll see. Lachlan Galvin wins the Dally M by 2028.
You said 27.
I've changed my mind slightly.
Hey,
I've changed my mind slightly. It's still a hot take. It's not as hot as
look,
previously.
if you change the date of it, I would say it's a pretty hot take. But 28's pushing it, man.
2030 maybe. Maybe. Give him 5 years.
Look, I do think...
It's not that hot at that point. You got to be a little bit rogue.
But
to
it's still a
add-
hot take, bro.
To add to your boiling hot take, I think Galvin wins a Daily M within the future. I think he wins his team a comp within the future. I think he becomes one of the best sixers within the future. I think he leads New South Wales within the future because I have that much high expectation of
Look,
him.
I know the Dogs fans are talking about him, cuz, but I think he's going to be a Dogs immortal when he's finished with the career. If he stays there for 10 years,
I just can't see any loyalty in him.
The
that's all.
trajectory that he's on, if he continues it, he's going to go down in history.
all the Dogs fans are saying, why did we sign Galvin Sexton? I can't wait in 3 years' time when I bring up these screenshots of all you fucking idiots talking about how Galvin's not a good signing.
Do you think they'll care if we win the compa? Do you think they'll care about what
Because
they
these
said
blokes
3
don't
years
even
ago?
know what NRL is. They're just there to make noise.
Look, I back what I said last week about the timing of it being completely wrong, but obviously he was up for grabs and they had to snap out.
If we
onto
didn't
it.
act now, we would have missed him.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
I understand why they did what they did, but I just think the timing of it was completely wrong. But obviously they're going to do what they're going to do to win
Yeah.
in the future, not for now.
Yeah.
Because they're already up there, bro. You're coming first. Maybe he makes a difference. He's named in what? He's named on the extended bench.
Yeah.
yeah. I think he pushes into 14 this
I
week.
definitely
Did
think
any of
so.
you listen to the interview he did on 100% Footy?
Yeah,
I
watched it
watched
all.
little snippets. I haven't seen it all yet. But
He was saying that Seralda has told him he may have to play a bit of reserve grade. he may have to come off the bench for a
Yeah,
bit.
but don't forget that.
I think
bloke-
that's more of a management thing where they're saying we need to break this bloke's ego down without publicly
Yeah.
saying we need to break his
Look,
ego down.
Gal-
I can
Galvin-
see him playing 1 to 2 weeks in reserve grade.
Galvin was very well media trained, and that's all behind his manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was
yeah.
prepared for that interview,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
he would have been trained about 2 weeks. Ever since he came out and said what he said,
Yeah.
he would have been trained for that interview.
Yeah, agreed.
Everything was to the point, and it was like he was reading off a script, to be honest. But look, you can't be a 19-year-old pushing into the team that's coming first.
Yeah.
I think he will have to prove himself. Hopefully, he does sooner rather than later.
Those were Ciro's words to him. Galvin said in the interview, Ciro said, I have to earn my jersey.
Look, I definitely think he plays this week just to bring him into the team off a 14 role. Obviously, naming him at 22 is the best thing for that club because it actually leaves
Quiets
off
the
the
noise
media.
a bit. Quiets the noise.
Because can you imagine they could name him at 7?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the media for that week?
Look,
Against
there's the-
Para as well.
Look, there's
Exactly.
the other flip of the coin where Sexton's sitting there. Does he come out like in the deflated?
Did you hear Gus today?
I don't want to listen to Gus. I don't listen to Gus. He's already on the fucking.
His exact words were, Toby Sexton had his best training session of his life
I don't give a
today.
fuck what this bloke's got to say. He's going to
Hey.
a different galaxy, bro.
I'll say it before and I'll say it again. If Gus says yes, it means yes.
No means no unless your name's Gus. No, but bro, I could picture a world where Sexton comes out deflated, has his worst game
Maybe.
of the year.
Yeah, maybe.
Like he's sitting there thinking, "Fuck, these guys didn't even want me." Like a week ago, now they're saying they need me to play. Just like, am I just here to wait until Galvin's ready?
Look, only time will tell in this instance.
It's gonna be good. I honestly want Galvin to play so he can fuck the Eels fans up and be like, "Khador, this
I
is
don't-
what you get for fucking Khador for thinking you're gonna get me." But
I don't see it. I don't see him playing this week.
It's a good game for him to play. It's a
Yeah,
definitely good matchup.
yeah.
They're expecting about 50,000-60,000 out there,
Yeah,
aren't they?
the Bulldogs are doing $10 tickets.
Yeah, there you go.
Again.
Tight asses. But yeah, it's good on them, you know.
bro, I'm telling you, if every NRL team had $10 tickets, we'd also be pulling 60,000, mate.
Yeah, no.
My hot take of the week. You might not like it, you might agree, but I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say it. Pappenhausen is just Matt Duffy in a good team.
Bro, I don't know about that.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's a fucking terrible take.
You have no idea how good Matt Duffy was. If
Oh,
Matt
here we
Duffy-
go with the Dragons.
If Matt Duffy was in a
the
good team,
glaze. The glaze.
if Matt Duffy was in a good team, he'd be doing what does Pappenhausen offer to the team besides speed?
Beautiful hair.
One of the worst haircuts I've ever seen that he had to re-dye it the week later because that's how ugly it was.
Pappenhausen is there in support. He has the ball skills.
What ball
world-class
skills?
fullback. Are you telling me he doesn't
What
have
ball skills?
What ball skills does he have?
Well, let me guess. Duffy had better ball skills.
But they're on par with each other with
They
their
are
ball
not
skills.
on
This
par
bloke.
with each other.
You know what? I'm going to show you some Matt Duffy highlights after
Did
this, bro.
Pappenhausen not win Dally and fullback of the year
I believe he did.
in 2020 when they won the comp?
I believe he did.
Did Matt Duffy win the Dally and fullback of the
Did
year?
you not hear my hot take? If Matt Duffy was in a better team, he'd be
Yeah, Matt
Pappenhausen.
Duffy came to the Bulldogs.
I thought your hot take was
Shut up.
Pappenhausen is a Matt Duffy in a good team.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying if Matt Duffy went to a better team, he'd be a Pappenhausen?
Yes.
Matt Duffy in that Storms team does the exact same thing as Pappenhausen.
Bro, he does not offer more than what Pappenhausen does.
Yes. Yes.
No
I think
way
you
in
guys
the
are forgetting how
world.
good Matt Duffy
Bro,
was.
he scored,
he
one,
was a
he
bit of
scored one
pace.
good try.
There was
on
a
the
bit of
Anzac
pace.
match.
That's all he had was a bit of pace, Matt Duffy.
And he didn't have any ball playing. Did you not remember his cutout passes?
Oh, the
Clearly.
exact same cutout pass. They got intercepted how many times?
Zero.
They went to the sideline how many
Zero.
times?
I watched plenty of Matt Duffy myself. He had many of them getting intercepted.
How'd you watch plenty of Matt Duffy? He played like 4 games for you guys, bro. You never watched any Dragons games. Shut up,
Are you
brother.
a psycho? Are you a
Matt
stupid
Duffy
idiot?
is
Are you the
exact-
dumbest guy in the world?
Matt Duffy is the exact same player Pappenhausen is. Try and convince me otherwise.
Are you dumb or stupid or both?
No means
We will
no.
see what the comments have to say about that one.
That's a
I think
terrible
you've got
take.
the worst hot take on the
Terrible
table this
take.
week.
Shut up. You said
got
Galvin.
the
At
worst-
JC, terrible take.
I'm telling you, bro. He's just a Matt Duffy.
Rubbish.
You've got no clue, mate.
Rubbish. He scored one good try for Anzac
Hey.
Day and that was it.
Do you reckon he's still just salty because Pappenhausen beat him in Supercoach for Ahmed?
Yeah, good kid. Hey, you're terrible at Supercoach. bro.
356
brother.
points. Pappenhausen beat JC by
You're shocking,
356
I won
points.
this week, cousin. Don't worry
Okay,
about me.
this
What are you
bloke's just-
coming again?
This bloke's just talking good
12.
because he's sitting
I'm
out.
I'm 1 game out of the 8, brother. Shut your mouth. Watch when I come for
Hey,
you.
you're not even outright first. You got the most points scored, but you're coming like
Cuz
what?
I'm like 7th and I got the most points scored.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one
Isn't
cares.
that what you were talking about for
Hey, so-
ages?
Give a
few
fuck.
years
So
ago?
if a team has the
I'm
most
not
points
saying I'm the
has the
best.
most points in the comp, but they don't finish first, do you remember them?
So
for
you've
that?
probably
I
got
beat
one
him.
more win than me.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
He
still got
does.
more
He
than
does
you.
one more.
And I beat you.
He's on what? 10 points. You're on
I'm on
8.
10.
Nah,
He's
I'm
on
more.
12.
I'm on like 14, cuz.
No, you're on 12.
I'm on like 14,
You're on
cuz.
12,
We'll
bro.
check after
I'm
this.
7 and 6.
You're on 12.
I'm on 14.
No.
Promise you I'm
I
on
say you've got
14.
2 more wins than me. I'm gunning for you. I hope I play you in
Comfortably.
semi-finals.
You're not making
You're ahead.
semi-finals. I'm making
You're
top
ahead.
8 finals. I don't know what you're going to be in.
I don't know about you, but I'm 6-0 in the last 6 games. So, anyway.
Anyways.
All right, lads, I got a follow-up question. Once again, I want to relate this to you guys.
Okay.
Because this is a really solid question. So I had Jackson message me saying, 3 targets you would love to see the Dragons sign and make them realistic. So,
Jackson O'Doherty.
Yeah, Jackson O'Doherty. Jackson Ford messaged me saying, if you could sign me for the Dragons, would you? So obviously, Sam,
Well,
don't be like Charbel.
We've got to be realistic here. We've got to set, let's set at least a $2 million value where you can sign one good player and a couple of backups. You can't just come out and say the 3 best players in the game.
Yeah.
I've got my 3. I've got my 3 locked and loaded.
I need to think. I didn't see this question. Do me last.
All right. So what was the question? Can you repeat it?
So
Sorry?
if the Bunnies could sign 3 players right now, realistically, who would you sign?
I think realistically we need a world-class front rower. We need a much better 5'8" to move out of Walker's position, and
Take Flanagan.
Professor X. I would say a hooker, but that's been covered with Smith. So I'm going to say Smith as one of them. I'm going to
But
say
you've signed him already.
that's what we need anyway. He hasn't
Yeah,
obviously
I can't say
played.
Galvin, eh?
No.
We need Cam Smith, Billy Slater, Cooper Cronk. Look, I'd probably say if there's one halfback I do like at the moment, probably Jerome Hughes. Jerome Hughes wouldn't
Yeah,
be bad.
a real player.
But I don't think what we need is actually more of a 5'8".
Yeah.
So someone who offers a bit of that X factor to the team. Actually might say someone like Matt Burton or Lockie Galvin would be good for our team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to say Brandon Smith because I think Brandon Smith is the player we need. Let's just assume we haven't signed him.
Wayne Bennett gets a lot of good work out of him.
And man, if we got a Payne Haas on that team or something,
Yeah.
man, that would be incredible.
Changes pretty much everything.
100%. And he could be, he would offer more than what a halfback would offer in attack
In a way.
and defense.
In a way, yeah.
Like he's that more influential as a player in his position.
Yeah.
So who are you choosing, Sam?
I said I'm going last.
Oh, you still haven't come up?
No. I've got 2. I've
Alright,
got
I'll
2.
give you time.
Think of
I've
a
got two.
third.
So
You
for
know
me-
your 3. Tell us your 3.
Look, I got to change my mind because obviously the way I took this question was my top 3 targets, who I would have top 3. Like, I didn't want to sign 3 at once because if it was my top 3 targets, believe it or not, I would like to sign, like, Drinkwater. I think Drinkwater can help with these young halves that are coming through. So, like, Atkinson's coming next year. We might have, I don't know who's going to be playing 7, probably Lycan next year. If we had Drinkwater at fullback, he can obviously play that halfback role at fullback.
Yeah, and take a lot of pressure off
He
the
can take a
halves
lot
as
of
well.
pressure. Otherwise, if we were not to get Drinkwater, I would love to go after Isaiah Katoa, bro, and just build my team around him.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah,
Look, if we didn't
yeah.
have Humphreys, I would be saying Isaiah Katoa as well.
Look, bro, he's just someone I feel like, once again, in his position will be the best in like the next 5 years. Once he's the
Guaranteed,
new
bro.
crop, once like that old crop of like Moses, Cleary, and all that all retire, I think he's the best thing in the
We say
competition.
old crop, but they still got another
Cleary's
5 or 6
25
years,
or
man.
26.
Bro, he's
guys.
like 27, bro.
Yeah.
Still, he's
But
got 7 years.
Katoa's 19, bro.
I can see Cleary being a DCE playing Origin at the age of 37. man.
Yeah.
We never know, but you know what I mean. Like I still rate.
That's unless he transitions into a Papua New Guinean.
Or a rugby union. What the hell is all that about?
That's bullshit.
But my third one, you're not gonna like this, Ben, and I know we've been close to signing him before. Is Keon. Him and Jaden Saw in the same team, bro. I know they're best mates. Bring him over, bro.
Look, he's good on the edge, but imagine him playing in the middle, man.
Imagine him in this Dragons team with this young crop coming through and him bustling around, bro.
Look,
It'd
he
be a
would be
good
good.
signing for us.
But I do think you guys need to focus much more on your spine than elsewhere.
That's why he's my third pick. My first pick was obviously Drinkwater.
Get a good centre, buddy. Suli's got to go.
Bro, he's not that bad, bro. Honestly, he's in the top quadrant of centers.
I thought you were going to say Brent Naden for a second. Jesse Ramey.
Top quadrant. So you think he's in the top 25% of centres?
Yes.
Moses Sulley.
Yes.
All right. Have you thought of your 3?
Do
I
you
have.
disagree with that before we move on?
I'm thinking about it before I say something.
He's not in the top 25.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because if
No
there's how many
way,
centers
bro.
are there? Like currently, if we go based off 17 teams, there's 34 centers. You're
Yeah.
telling me he doesn't make the top 10 centers?
No, he doesn't.
No way in the
No
world.
way, bro.
Nah.
What planet?
Not a chance.
What Flanagan Express are you smoking?
Who's better than him?
All right, let's get started. Critter,
Yep,
Garrick,
yep,
Holmes,
yep. Farnworth,
Herbie,
Kale Iro,
KL or KL?
KL specifically.
Adam Dewey,
KL.
Brendan Hayden.
I'm going to leave it. Okay, that's 5.
That's 5 guaranteed.
Yes.
Campbell Graham.
Campbell Graham.
Yep.
Jack Wyden. Campbell Graham, the dog's other centre. Bro, Sherry's over him for me.
No, bro.
I know he won't agree with that, but I think Sherry's over him.
Sherry's
Oh.
over him.
No, bro.
All right. For
I think
argument's
they're
sake,
same level.
argument's sake, leave it at 6. Why am I having a blank right now?
You having a what?
That is disgusting, Sam.
All right. None of the Rooster centers.
Rob Toya, the way he's playing, bro.
Bro, he's been playing 10 games. You
None
can't
of the
rate him
Rooster
over him.
centers. Why am I?
What do you
not
mean you
getting
can't rate him over him? I choose the ratings. He is better than
Tony Staggs.
Katowi. Katowi's quality, bro.
Bro, for what? 3 games a year? Why has he done?
And what's Sonny been good at this year?
Better yet,
This year, yes, he's been
Better yet-
average. You know he averages 200 or something like 210 meters a game.
who?
Sully,
Oops. What are you smoking, mate?
brother, something like that. I'll bring up the stats right
So
now.
something like that, it'll be 140.
Better yet, Shibasaki is playing better.
Shut the fuck up. Now you're gonna say Dane Gagai. Bradman Best, I'll take over him.
That's another one, bro.
That's 8.
It's already 8.
If you can't Sherry, it's
If we're
9.
being specific, a
we go.
quadrant is what?
Of 34.
34?
8.5, cuz.
Eight.
Thank you.
half.
So
We're already on 9.
there is your quadrant, to be specific. But we're going back to your 3, Mr. Sam.
Yes, my apologies. Okay, so I actually have one that he said. I think Scott Drinkwater would take the Bulldogs to a whole nother level. I love Connor Tracy. We need a bit more X factor at fullback. Obviously, I'd go Payne Haas because he's on the market. And the last one that I'd go with is Jacob Little.
Go fuck yourself.
I'd go with Jacob Little.
I reckon you'd go fuck yourself.
I think what he does, that he can kick out a dummy half. He's got one of the best running games out of any hooker in the game right now.
Little's quality, bro.
Bro,
Off the back of our forward pack, I think he would kill it.
I hope he kicks your skull in because he's not going anywhere.
Look, even if I can take back Brandon Smith, and I would say Jacob Little, definitely.
Go fuck yourself. He's not going anywhere.
I mean, he's unreal.
He's not going anywhere,
Those-
Jacob Little.
Those 30, 40 minutes that he plays for you is insane.
He is so underused.
The
at
way that he
game.
actually
So
changes,
underused.
he changes your team completely, bro.
Disrespected,
And he plays
honestly.
what? Is it 30, 40 minutes for that game? Cook at lock, man. Are you serious? Get him off the field. Bring lock on.
Jacob Little is disrespected at those Dragons. He deserves better.
100%,
He deserves better.
100%, bro.
Yeah,
And I think the only way he's going to get better is if he leaves.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, Cookie's what, 33, 34?
Yeah, they'll keep it for another 2-3 years.
Yeah, but man, in that time, Little's going to want to be the starting 9.
Yeah.
And he deserves to be.
Of course he does.
More
Yeah.
importantly, I think you take him to any other team, he actually starts in the team.
In a lot of teams, yeah, I reckon in probably about 10 teams in the comp.
Take away Harry Grant, obviously.
10 teams in the comp he starts
But
for, without question.
I think he starts in majority of teams.
Yeah,
I rate Jacob Little and probably right now the top 5 hookers in the game.
yeah, fair.
He's very underrated, bro.
fair.
So
There's not many star hookers around these days, is there?
I think it's just
Reid
because
Marnie.
Good hooker.
you're
good
forgetting
player.
we had the best hooker to ever play the game. More importantly,
Yeah.
one of the best players, if
Yeah,
not the best player
of
to ever
course.
play the game.
Of course.
It's so hard.
Damien Cook.
It's so hard to transition to see who's actually good in that position because
Yeah.
I think nines. There's no more like 80-minute nines in the game. Everyone's got a backup hooker coming off to take that slack off for them, and in that better hooker, his game plan like that 14 that comes off the bench, the game plan is so different to the 9. So it's hard to actually compare hookers that start to hookers on the bench because one that comes up from the bench, he's looking to maximise fatigue and look to transition around those fatigued forwards.
That's just because the middle's the fastest it's ever been. The game's the fastest it's ever been.
Exactly. So it's actually hard to say, other than Harry Grant, who else is one of the best 9s in the game at the moment?
There's a gap. There's a
Look,
gap
Reece
to like
Robson-
the Reece
Reece
Robsons
Robson's definitely up
and
there.
the Appies.
Even Wade Egan's playing all right as
Yeah.
well, man. But it's just hard to compare from Cameron Smith down to where he
Yeah.
is. Because other than Cameron Smith, who's been the best hooker of our time?
Ennis or Farah.
Like, that's But even in saying that, we haven't seen a player of that caliber of out the current day to have that Ennis or Farah tier,
Yeah.
let alone the Cameron Smith tier.
Yeah.
It's just such a big difference to how the game was played 10 years ago.
I'd take Michael Ennis or Robbie Farah over Harry Grant.
Oh, 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe not Robbie Farrell.
Robbie Farrell was solid, bro.
He was solid, but not
Defense
Harry
and
Bro,
attack as well, man.
Even Isaac Luke. I think Isaac Luke's a level
Bully.
above most of the hooker.
Bully
these
was
days.
good, man.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say next, Isaac the Goose? All right, boys, we got our tips this week.
Let's do it.
First game, we got Knights versus Manly in Newcastle Thursday night.
Knights are missing a few players as well.
They are.
And with Leha Hapawadi, I've got Manly 13 plus, bro.
I agree.
Manly 13 plus.
I can't see Knights winning another game.
I got Manly 1 to 12. I think Knights defensively will show
Look,
up.
I'd hope so for the sake of entertainment of that game. I hope Knights show up. But looking at their roster, even they're missing a few forwards as well.
Yeah, isn't
Like-
Brodie Jones starting up prop?
No, yeah, Brodie Jones is and Matt Croker starting at lock as well.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
they're a bit depleted, and they're missing both Bradman Best and Greg Marzu still. I know Marzu's name in the extended bench; he might make a late appearance.
Who
but
knows?
based of that team, bro, that's 13 plus Manly all day.
Well, Friday night, we kick off with Melbourne versus Cowboys. Amy Park, 6 p.m.
Down
I
there,
don't know what to make of Melbourne at the moment, eh?
I'm more important. I don't know what to make of Cowboys.
Yeah, true.
Cowboys have got that much attack and so little defense.
They got
Yeah.
points, and Melbourne have been a bit shaky defensively.
Look, I think they just had that one off week, man. They've been pretty solid other than that. But they have, even against Sharks,
Yeah,
that was a big shock. At home, I can't see Storm losing, but I got 1 to 12 Storm.
I got Storm 1 to 12.
I got Storm 13 plus. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to hold them defensively.
Maybe not.
Game of the round.
Here we go.
Dolphins versus Dragons, 8 p.m.
Definitely not game
Friday.
of the round.
Bro,
What do we got?
Dolphins 1 to 12.
Dolphins 1 to 12.
I can't see you guys continue in this form up there.
Have you guys won? Have you got, like, apart from now, have you won 2 in a row before this week?
Yeah. Titans and Manly.
Tommy Travojevic mainly, yeah.
It was Manly full fit. But no, I got Dragons 13 plus.
Plus.
Away as well. They
At
did
Suncorp?
they did beat
We beat Brisbane.
Manly at home
We
as
beat-
well.
Yeah, we beat Manly away.
You did.
We beat Melbourne this year.
I
We
remember-
beat Brisbane
I remember
away.
that TikTok.
Look,
Yeah, exactly.
it will be a close game, but I think Dolphins just edge it out.
They can keep edging because they're not winning. Saturday, Sharks Warriors. I honestly, I genuinely think this is game of the round.
Is that a 3 p.m. game?
5:30.
I'm going Sharks 1 to 12.
Who's home?
Sharks.
Sharks off the back of a bye. Look, they'll be pretty fresh.
The Warriors have travelled a lot as well.
Yeah.
No Warnett in the middle.
I'd say Sharks 1 to 12 as well.
I'm gonna go Sharks 13 plus. I think they're gonna need to show up this game, especially the last game they lost, didn't they?
Look,
Yeah, to Roosters.
I hope
Shocker.
Nico does for Supercoach purposes as well.
Yeah, me too.
AFB, mate. Oh, but Friday night, I swear that they always get a home game. It's Saturday, sorry, but they always get a home game. Broncos versus Titans at Suncorp.
No, I think the NRL is doing everything for Broncos to win. bro.
I don't know.
But I swear they've had like 12 home games out of 14 rounds.
I
I've got
don't
Bronx.
know.
Bronx
I'm going
bouncing
Bronx in a tight one.
Man, to think with that team, Bronx are going to go 1-8 is ridiculous.
My heart is saying Broncos, but my head is saying Gold Coast. I don't know why. I just don't see Broncos turning that around.
Bro, if Titans can use their strike power to them full capability, they're going to pull points on the Broncos.
Logics tells you Broncos doesn't lose 6 in a row, whatever they're on.
Reece Walsh back.
Is he back?
Yeah.
He is.
I can see him making a big difference for him. They're going to rely heavily on him. But I'm going to back confidently Broncos 1 to 12.
Bronx in the tight one.
I'm going to go Broncos 1 to 12 as well. We got your boys playing Sunday at GIO against
No,
Canberra.
man.
In
Canberra Rabbits.
Papali's record game, I can't see Raiders.
Bro, his son's going to come on and score.
Yeah.
Have you seen his
Have
son?
you seen the size of that kid, man?
Sign him up.
But not more important, he's got the exact same forehead as his dad.
It's a regeneration. The bloke's like, okay, I retire, I regenerate. His son comes out, bro.
In Papali's record game, I can't see them losing. The Rabbitohs are in form. The Rabbitohs will show up.
Look, Rabbitohs are boosted with the return of
Definitely.
Jack White and Cody Walker.
Jack White is getting belted.
Against who? Sebastian Chris.
Whoever it is,
They're
he's
both
getting,
as useless as each other.
he's getting fucking stiff arm
Josh
straight
is
to the
scoring
head.
a try, and the Raiders are winning by 10-ish.
What do you
Souths
got?
1 to 12. Hey, Raiders are depleted, man.
Hey, you got to back your boys, bro.
No
I'm
buy
going,
yet. I think Raiders are going to plummet.
I'm going Raiders 1 to 12.
They love these emotional games, but and Papali's like he's
But
taking the
for it.
record for their club.
I think Ricky Short's going to cry when he sees Papali walking onto the field, man.
Ricky might get sticky. Tigers versus Panthers.
This is game of the round.
Combank.
you got to say Penrith in a blowout, don't you?
Penrith 13 plus, bro.
You want to blow them out?
If Penrith play the way they did last week, it's not even close.
Would you go?
Penrith 13 plus.
Don't tell me Tigers.
I backed the Tigers last week. They could have got it done, but Penrith are going to find their form.
Tigers 1 to 12. Don't let me down.
Why?
Oh my
Don't let me down.
Oh my god.
The last time I tipped Tigers to beat Penrith, they beat Penrith.
Wasn't that like 2 years ago?
Exactly. Latu Fanu's back. He could make a difference off the bench, but
Exactly right.
I don't know, man. I've got Penrith confidently.
Now your game of the round. Dogs versus Eels.
I am extremely nervous.
Accor Stadium,
I'm
Monday.
backing the Dogs by 1 to 12, of course.
What do you got?
Chord. Eels 1 to 12.
Eels 1 to 12 for me, Sam. I'm going to be giving you the biggest hold on Monday.
Josh
You can
Adokar.
try.
Josh Adokar hat trick.
Of course. That always happens.
Lomax,
Zach Lomax hat
hat
trick.
trick. Lomax field goal.
Zach Lomax is
Mitchell Moses.
Field goal.
Marcelo Montoya is going to have a rough day.
Marcelo Montoya.
He's going to have a
40
rough
point
day.
field goal.
So who's your player to watch this week?
Based off the matchups, I think just purely because of how unmatched these teams are to each other, I'm going to say it's either going to be between Leo Hapawadi against the Knights. I think he's going to blow their backs out, first of all. And second of all, Cleary's going to dominate against the Tigers, man. I can't decide between either of them. You know what? I'll say Cleary for the sake of it.
I've got two answers as well. You can go first.
I'm going to go for Josh Curran to have a big game for the
Oh
Dogs.
my
on the
god,
Eels.
bro! Oh my god!
Out of all players, out of all 364 players or whatever that are playing this weekend,
I'm going for Josh Curran.
Can't we just be realistic for once, Sam?
It's a player to watch. What do you mean be realistic?
why are you going to watch him? Out of all players to watch this weekend, you want to watch Josh Curran.
I'm
is it?
surprised.
very
I'm
good
surprised you didn't say Max King. To be honest,
I was this close. I was so close to saying it.
Far
I've got
out,
two.
bro.
I'm going with Josh Curran.
Here
I've
we
got
go.
two. I think
Lawson and Sully.
I
Holmes
think
and Sewer.
Sua's not even playing. He's injured. He beat Holmes and then he got injured.
Sloan and Lowry.
Sloan's not playing.
Emre Gula.
He's 18th man, bro. If anyone gets injured, I'm not watching that game. I think Munster's going to absolutely lube up fucking Cowboys in Melbourne. I think he's going to bend them over, take whatever he needs off him, their virginity, whatever the fuck he needs off him. But my player to watch this week, based on the matchups, I'm going to go with Mitchell Moses against the Dogs. I think Mitchell Moses is going to
That's a nice one.
have a really big game against you guys. But on that note, I just want to thank the league lads again, Ajibes Couch.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you, boys.
And I just want to thank you boys for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Because our friend Charlie,
Co-host.